Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a little while since we've gone racing, but it is back. It is season 5. It is beautiful, and well, a man ever just as beautiful is alongside me in the commentary box tonight. It is qualifying night. It is the very first time we go qualifying. It's PC, and well, alongside me is the man who did PC all the way through last season. It is Frost Breath. Firstly, how are you?
Thanks. Yeah, I'm quite well actually. It's this is my fourth. I've been here since season 2, so this is my 4th season then in a row I'm commentating for PC, and it's quite a pleasure to be back. Had a brilliant one last time round, season 4 with FVR as winners. So they will not be qualifying tonight because they got their free pass as champions for season 5 here, if I've seen that correctly. 4 lobbies, I believe, are coming up, aren't there? And the first one will have 3 teams.
Yeah, 3 teams in our first lobby tonight, and well, 3 teams all gunning for a place in what will be a very exciting championship, no doubt. We have 19 teams to qualify tonight and 20 teams in total registered. That is just absolutely phenomenal. Season on season, the growth has just been absolutely insane, but we're pretty much going to be getting into it very, very quickly, very, very shortly, but we've got 3 teams. We've got CPI, DLX, and OP here for this qualifying. Obviously, CPI, we expect to qualify. Do we see either of the other 2 teams qualifying? There's a lot of other teams fighting for a few places. Where do you see them stacking up?
Well, it's 19 teams fighting for a spot this season. There's only room for 10, so nearly half of them are going to have to be dropped. I believe one of them has already been dropped before we even started. And that happened last season as well. 3 or 4 teams either just dropped out last minute or didn't submit a lineup in time, which caused them not to be able to qualify at all. And that means they were out before it even started. So let's hope it will not happen this time, because it's promising to be a really good one with so many teams in. I think OP could have a chance. I do not know a lot about DLX, so let's find out right now. I believe we're live at the moment on Texas. A difficult track to qualify on, so let's see how these teams will cope with the circumstances.
Absolutely. Going to be great to see what happens once we head trackside in a couple of moments' time as everybody just readies up in the lobby, gets himself all sorted, and we'll be good to go. 18 minutes of qualifying here for the first lobby. 3 teams vying for spots on the grid. Only 9 teams will qualify. 1 team has auto-qualified, so therefore there is not much wiggle room here in terms of getting themselves on the grid, but here we go. Let's take you trackside here because we have got qualifying on our hands and, well, qualifying starting to get underway already. Here we go. Let's take you trackside. 6 cars and, well, hopefully spots on the grid for all of these teams. But what will the outcome of this session be? That is going to be, I think, the big talking point here. CPI expected to qualify, but the other 2 teams, a bit more of an unknown entity, I'd say. Indeed, Giovanni Galito there leading us away, and for the first time, I believe, in a stream that you've done, Froster, the custom sponsor boards making an appearance, and lining the track, lining the track with a lovely Grid Finder, Sim Racing Centre, and Simulus branding. It took me a long time to make them, so I hope you all enjoy them. Game audio can't be heard. That's fine. I will see if I can fix that ever so quickly. Game audio's muted. There you go. That'll do it. Hopefully you should be able to hear the game now, and well, just in time, because we are about to get a hot lap underway. Giovanni now rounding the final couple of bends here, and well, about to head on to that start-finish straight. Take it away. First hot lap of the season. You commentated last season. It's all yours. Take it away, Frost.
Throttle flat down, using quite a bit of overtake there to get the car going as fast as possible. Just make sure you keep plenty of battery remaining for the end of the stretch. He's using a lot of overtake apparently. That means he's going to have to save a little bit for the last bit of the track. End of Sector 2 then, it's going to be a 1 minute 1.824, of course, having lost a lot of time by the near spin just at the start of Sector number 2. Very close indeed. Thankfully, damage is off, so they cannot destroy their cars, but they can still destroy their lap times and their hopes of going into Season 5 at all. Of course, the teams that will not qualify will become reserve, depending on which position they are. But let's see, Giovanni Gariotto, as he comes around the final corner, first lap time of the night is going to be a 1 minute 31.2, and following very soon is actually Mattia Ramarini. It looks like we've got an Italian Gio, and he manages to invalidate his lap at the second to last corner. That's going to harm him quite a bit. No banker lap then for the second OP member. And then back onto the CPI cars. Let's see what they can do.
Yeah, indeed. Isaac Leet across the line at 130.296. His teammate Kai getting all squirrely on the final bend and beats him by just 3 thousandths. A good lap time from both CPI cars. A good benchmark from both of them as now power for DLX is about to come around the final couple of bends as well. And well, pretty much first laps all done for most of the grid now as power around the final corner now. And well, a banker lap time on the board for most of the grid though. And he will go fourth and last. Slower than Giovanni and well, Mikel Sanchez and Mattia Ramarini, both not getting lap times on the board, but into the pit lane quite nicely due to where they invalidated right at that final corner. So no real problems there, but the pressure is a little bit more on for both of those drivers.
Absolutely. I'm hoping I'll be able to be heard very soon, because apparently
yes, you can. You're
they cannot hear me. So
you're fixed now, don't worry.
Okay, excellent. So let me know in the chat whether you can hear me again. So that will be quite all right. It looks like two drivers already coming out for their second run. Of course, that is Mikel Sanchez and Mattia Ramarini in the Red Bull and the Aston Martin. They have yet to set a lap time, and it looks like for now CPI are pretty much on top of it, aren't they? 3 milliseconds separating the both of them, and then there's Giovanni, a second down almost from Kai and Isaac Lead. Same goes for Power, who is even more down than that. So it looks like it might be up to Mikel and Mattia to try and save it for their teams. But of course, it's only the first 3 teams, and there's 10 that can qualify, so there might be a little bit of room for error for them left, but it's going to be for them to be at the top of their game, don't they? Because if they are a second down compared to CPI, and CPI were somewhat of a midfield team last season, it's going to be a struggle getting in.
Yeah, especially as the bar and standards just get raised higher and higher every season. New teams join and, well, set that bar just that little fraction better. But, well, you know, all it takes is one team just to cause a little bit of an upset and everything goes a little bit peep-tong. You know, going to be interesting to see what happens. We're about to get those second couple of laps, courtesy of Mattia Ramarini and Mikel Sanchez. And yes, we can hear you. Is the consensus being given? But yeah, should be an easy qualifying, you would have thought, for CPI. But can either of these other two teams cause a bit of an upset? That is the question. Well, Mattia Ramarini is now coming across the line to hopefully get himself a lap time on the board here as he heads up towards turn number 1, braking ever so nicely, swing it in, run and take the shortest line possible here as now we head down the hill and in towards the S section. And actually, this S section originates before the Silverstone version of the S section, so interestingly, Silverstone could have copied it from Circuit of the Americas. Now, up through Sector 2 towards the top and highest point of the circuit, and then quite quickly down and all the way down to this hairpin here. A real tricky braking zone here. If you get it wrong, get it crossed up, it does really hurt you along the straight. Just 1 or 2 miles an hour could easily be a 1/10 of a second a minimum along this straight here as that rear wing opens nice and wide now. Mattia Ramarini heading now in towards what will be Sector 3 and another hairpin just to come here. Beautifully taken as now into that heart of the final sector here. A couple of technical corners here, especially the one coming right up here. Very difficult and easy to lock the brakes here as you go round the corner. Well, taken very nicely and a sweeping double apex right-hander just to finish off the lap here. And well, 2 more corners to go. 2 very fast left-handers and well, taken beautifully within track limits crucially this time around, and well, not a bad lap time at all for Mattia Ramarini, who now comes up to the line, goes 3rd, so beats his teammate. What can Mikel Sanchez do? Beats his teammate as well, but CPI still very much setting the benchmark.
Yeah, it looks like Giovanni is also back on his way for his second run. See if he can find some time through the first sector. Only 3 milliseconds though, so that might be a problem for him later down the line. CPI getting ready for the second run as well. Looks like Kai just started his hot lap. But we're right now watching Giovanni Galiotto again to see what he can do and to improve. He's currently about 3/100ths of a second behind his teammate. And over almost a second down to CPI. Of course, CPI not having a big names alongside them in this lobby, which we'll be seeing them later down the line. Names such as NLR, ABS, ZNT. We all know them. We all know them from last season, especially fighting for a 3rd position and such. TF10, of course, coming up later in the lobbies, and there is his lap done for. Giovanni Galiotto invalidating it just at the start of sector number 3. That means we're going to switch our attention to Kai, who's currently on the back straight, still with the fastest lap time in his hands. Let's see what his difference is going to be at the end of sector number 2. Right here, as he comes up to the line right there, is going to be an improvement of 0.5. Not very much. Looks like track evolution is not really happening just yet for them. Ooh, a little bit of a drift there through the corners, and then just this very, very long right-hander indeed. As you follow him a little bit on board. Not much battery remaining either, as you can see on the steering wheel. It's going to be a struggle then, using a lot of overtake. 2 more corners to go, and then we'll see what the improvements are going to be. It's going to be nothing, because he heads straight back into the pit lane. No risk then for Kai. And then Isaac Lead coming up to the line next with one of the Aston Martins there. That's Power just in front of him. Let's see what he can do to improve the lap time. No, he's invalidated, gone too wide out of the second to last corner. That means Isaac Lead is going to try and improve his lap there as he comes onto the main straight. A 1:30.0. That is a big improvement. 2.5 more than that faster as he goes very close to the 1:29 limit.
Indeed, that's a brilliant lap from Isaac Lee there, and that's certainly going to help bring, that average for the team just that little bit better, because if you are unfamiliar with how it works in terms of a qualifying night, both of these drivers' times added and then averaged. So you get the average lap time between both of those drivers, and well, that is the time you take home. So every improvement, every millisecond means a huge ordeal, and that is an absolute stonking lap from Isaac Lee, and means he can go into that kind of final lap or two with absolutely full beams on the table, because he has got a brilliant lap time that will no doubt certainly help send CPI through.
Definitely, yeah. With less than 7 minutes remaining now, the other two teams will have to put their best driving skills forward now. Of course, they only have CPI to compare themselves to, but they can also look to one another, because in terms of difference between the two teams that are third and fifth right now, the difference is very small, isn't it? There's about a tenth between Mattia and Mikkel. There's about 2/10 also between Mattia and Power. So they might have a very close battle for their position in the next season. So let's see what they can do in this final attempt. Some of them coming out already. Giovanni waiting on a little bit. And of course, Isaac Leet still to come in with 6 minutes remaining. Plenty of time to get their car prepared.
Indeed, plenty of time for these guys. And I'm not sure actually if Parc Fermé's on for this session, so they may even be able to make a few subtlety tweaks to the car.
It is off, yeah.
Off, so yeah, they can make those tweaks, and that little bit of kind of not feeling the car as we go into here, adjust that front wing. It's exactly like it works in the real world of Formula 1. You make those minor adjustments, and no doubt there'll be a little bit of that as these drivers kind of build up towards those final couple of minutes.
There's one thing they can't do, is forget the pick the wrong rear wing, that's for sure.
Exactly. Don't bring the wrong rear wing, because you might have to cut a chunk out of it, as Red Bull have found in the real world of Formula 1. But Kai beginning a hot lap now, and well, hopefully he has got the right rear wing to take him with a little bit more pace and performance into turn 1. He's invalidated at turn 1, so
ouch.
The rear wing irrelevant for him, as he'll have enough time to get back into the pit lane, change the tyres, but a run wasted for Kai so early on as well. That is not ideal, as now Mikel Sanchez will look to try and get one of the OP drivers and get themselves up a place or two, very slightly on the rear through Sector 1 and now into Sector 2, but 2.5 times the improvement. That's a massive improvement there in Sector 1. This could be a mega lap here at the moment. But what can Sector 2 and 3 deliver? Maybe the rear end being slidey in Sector 1 is all choice, but invalidated there, so it will all come to nothing. Now, the pressure falls to Mattia Ramineri, who is the only driver, or the lead driver, who's on a valid lap time at the moment.
Yep, there he goes on the back straight. Let's see if he can find as much time as Mikel was about to do. He's no longer got a valid lap going on anymore, unfortunately. He got that 4/10 quick already. They've realized the time has come to push according to the game. This is a purple middle sector, which I'm not sure is absolutely true. The game really likes to make middle sectors purple these days. Then comes the long right-hander, of course, and then turns 19 and 20 only, and then we'll find out whether Mattia can bring his team further up the table or not. Of course, only 3 teams will have their lap times averaged after this lobby. And then 3 more lobbies with many more teams will be coming up. It's going to be a 1 minute 30.8. So the good news for him is he's managed to breach the 1 minute 31 limit and gone up quite a bit more than that. Power also invalidated, so he's going to have to try again on the very last opportunity they'll be getting. And that means somebody else on a hot lap right now, Giovanni Gagliotto, who's also going to try and improve as much as his teammate. And look at that, he's a second quicker out of nowhere. Oh! And he nearly loses it. So much enthusiasm, trying to go as fast as he can, and he nearly spins round, so let's hope he didn't lose too much time from that, because it's suddenly looking like Giovanni has found the correct setup, or just decided to go for it big time, taking all the risk wherever he can, goes nearly too wide, he does go too wide, and it's invalidated. That's a big shame, and potentially could cost them a spot on the grid for Season 5.
Yeah, absolutely. Really interesting to see there. The absolute pace, though, that was in that lap time.
The
That is
difference, where did that
gutted.
come from?
Yeah, where did that come from? That's the massive question, because that was a lap time that could have beaten CPI Kai as that lap was looking. So, phenomenal lap time. I'd be interested to see if they've got enough time to get in, change the tyres, and get back out. Because if they do,
I don't think
wow.
Giovanni has. He just came in.
Yeah.
2 minutes remain.
It has to be a very
Ouch.
quick outlap. Would have to be a very quick outlap. We'll see what happens. It does appear that Giovanni is going to try, because I can see that the garage is preparing the car to leave, as is Mikel Sanchez, who's just left as well. They're going to have to do a very quick outlap here, because I'm not even sure if Giovanni is going to actually be out of the across the pit limiter by the time the 1 minute 30 mark. He's just about managed to cross the pit limiter line before the 1 minute 30 mark. But that is not much time to get around to the line
No,
and begin a lap
I don't
time.
think it's enough.
It might be enough for Mikel Sanchez, but I'm not convinced it is enough.
No, yeah, that's what I mean. Not for Giovanni. He's going to cut every corner right now. Look at that. I'm not sure if that is allowed. He's going to... Oh, there he goes. Across the grass to get to the line in time. Now he might actually try and make it. But I'm not sure if that is actually allowed. I can't remember it from the top of my head. Many leagues do disallow it. So we'll have to find out what the FIA is going to say about that move happening right there. But we're going to switch our attention back to Kai, who was trying to improve previously, didn't manage to get the job done because he invalidated very early on. Kai then, through the S's, right now they are very, very much safe in this lobby specifically, but of course they do not know how their rivals are going to compare themselves to them once they have their lobbies finished as well. So they're going to try and go as fast as possible. They shouldn't get complacent with the fact that these two teams are far behind them at the moment. As he was about half a tenth or so quicker through Sector 1. Then onto the back straight for the last time. 20 seconds remain, by the way, in this session. It looks like Mikel Sanchez is indeed going to make it, and it might be the fact that Giovanni, if he's lucky, is going to do so as well as he comes around the final corner. I'm watching it on my mini-map as we follow Kai, and it looks like Giovanni has made it on the line. Wow! The corner cutting has definitely worked in his favor for now, as Kai goes 2.5 tenths quicker through the middle sector, getting closer to his teammate's lap time, but he did so on his previous run, and that means even Isaac Lead might be going faster at this moment. But first we're gonna have to watch what Kai can do, as he took the big right-hander, then the last two corners, a little bit unstable there, battery light flashing already, no more battery remaining, or at least not very much indeed, as he comes onto the main straight across the line. It is a 1 minute 29.892, potentially crucial for them to get into Season 5. What can Isaac Lead do? He also goes into 1 minute 29 faster than his teammate. Isaac Lead now the fastest of the lot. The next then across the line is going to be Power, who's still only got his first lap time on the boards at the moment. He has invalidated both of his other attempts, and this final one, with his fancy purple helmet, by the way, very Lewis Hamilton-ish from 2021 season. Just 2 more corners for him to go as well. Is this all or nothing then potentially for DLX? Through the final corner they go, and it is across the line 31.2. Then who else remains? Giovanni is still going, and Mikel's invalidated, so no improvement for him. Potentially could ruin their chances to get into the season. Giovanni Galiotto, though, what's his lap time going to be as he comes through the final corner? Can he once again make his lap time improve by a whole lot? Is it going to happen? I can't see, but I believe he did go up position to P3, but his lap time we'll figure out in a few seconds.
Indeed. Wow, that's a good qualifying session if I've ever seen one. Wow, Isaac Lee setting the bar so high. A 1:30.678.
That's a lot better, yeah.
Not a bad lap time. Is improving by about 8 tenths of a second or so, but not maybe improving by as much as he may have wanted. But Isaac Lee and Kai, a mega job for CPI, both in the 129s, and well, delivering a real solid chance for qualifying here. Giovanni, Mattia Ramoneri there, both with decent lap times, but how will they pan out once the end results are in? We've got 3 more lobbies still to go.
Yep, and I'm gonna make them real quick.
It is, yeah.
Let me out!
let's sort this out. But qualifying session, first one at least, done and dusted already. And I just need to turn you down a little bit, apparently, and turn myself up. I've never been told to turn myself up before, because I'm normally told for being too loud. But we'll try that now. But here we go. And we have got probably a real good race on our hands. Why am I saying good race? We've just got a good qualifying session on our hands. We've got pretty much everything you could want tonight. And, well, Lobby 2 is on its way. And, well, this lobby has got a couple of good teams in. I've just got to refresh my memory on what team specifically. But we've got VRM, TF10, SET, AMR, and I don't believe we're going to have TGF, as I believe they weren't able to get a second driver in time. Apparently, one of their actual drivers, I kid you not, decided to race in a Friends League, despite the team already getting his approval for him to race.
Oh dear.
Not getting involved with any team dramas. However, it does seem very dramatic. But
that's no good.
Definitely not. I think he might be sacked from the team fairly quickly, I would have thought, with that. Oh, TGF are there, but it appears they may only have one driver. So how are they going? How does that work? How does that work if they've only got one driver?
That's a good question, actually.
How do we average a lap time of one man? Oh, they have two. They do have two drivers. They managed to sort it. Okie dokie. Right.
Oof.
No...
That's a relief, actually, for them.
Love that. Love that. I love seeing the chat on a qualifying night, because it is absolutely frantic. It's so chaotic. It's lovely to see so many people here as well. Is that outplayed? No, nah, some fake one. Love that as a statement. Just some fake one. Right, everybody is getting in and sorting themselves out for Lobby 2, which will be getting underway shortly. But
of course, the big name for this lobby is TF10, the runner-up of last season. I'm very curious to see how they will do. And once this lobby is done, we'll have a true indication of what the pace is going to be like here in Texas. Because, you know, we've seen CPI. They were the fastest by quite a distance in the first lobby. But now that the more faster teams are coming up, we'll see how they compare to them. So I'm very curious to see what these teams can do.
Indeed. And looking at the average that we've got so far, very good so far from, well, CPI. They've had a really, really good start to their session. So, you know, a 1 minute 29.822 and a 1 minute 29.892.
Yes,
Gives them
I can see the average right here.
Yeah, gives them an average
29.857, yeah.
Which is really good. That puts them about a second ahead of, well, the team behind them, which is obviously OP.
Yes.
But
9/10.
not necessarily the most representative of teams to look at, but we'll see what kind of happens, because we've still got another lobby to go. So I believe we're just waiting for 2 drivers to get into the lobby, by the seams of it.
I'm trying to figure out. We're missing one TGF driver. We're also missing one SET driver.
We are indeed. Hopefully, we get both of those in quite nice and soon, and then we will be good to go. But obviously, the big name in this, as you said, TF10. I mean, it seems like a bit of a silly question, but do we see them qualifying?
I would be shocked if they weren't, but you know, they'll have to be careful still, because I've seen last season penalties really, really hurting some teams. I saw a very fast team, I believe it was CRE, they were quite well within the top 10 out of 14, but thanks to about half a second or something of a penalty because of footage missing or something of appealing one way or another, they did not qualify in the end. They did qualify after a stream, but they didn't qualify after the penalties were handed out. So, please be careful, teams.
Yeah, it is difficult. You know, it's a delicate balance, especially in what we're doing. Right, these drivers are trying to go as fast as they can, and not necessarily is their top priority going to be, can I get my lobby, you know, stream set up and sorted? But when it's a requirement for the championship, it is important that they do it, because otherwise, exactly that, it can hurt them, and it's not necessarily great if it does. But I'm not sure where we're at in terms of the lobby. I'm just trying to get myself all sorted. Get some
Yeah, we're still waiting for one TGF driver, one SET driver. AMR, VRM, and TF10 are in. And for them, we have, for VRM, we've got Jeremy Gallagnier and Theo Bulnes. For AMR, we've got David Martinez and Aaron Raminguez. Familiar name there as well. And for TF10, we've got Joel Marcard and Sami Simeoni driving in the Red Bulls. Then for TGI, currently we have got Mr. Pikey in. And then for SET, we've got Anton Chibotarov as well. So let's find out. They've got 2 minutes, the other two drivers, to get in. It looks like, yeah, there's the second SET driver. Sonic has just joined. Or if you want to pronounce it correctly, it should be Sonic with the little cross on the O there. And now we're just waiting for the second TGF driver. Let's hope for their sakes he'll be joining in time. Because TGF, of course, was in last season. They were not fighting for the win, but they were fighting EVE for 9th position. But still, they would probably really like to be in Season 5 as well, even with a bigger competition in terms of amount of teams. They will try to bring up their best drivers. One of them, unfortunately, wasn't able to make it, as we just heard, which is, well, not ideal. Let's keep it at that. So I believe they're currently trying to get Ruben in for TGF. They've got 1 minute to do it, otherwise late penalties will apply, and that will really hurt their chances for this season.
It really will, and hopefully they're able to get a car in, but it's not looking good at the moment for them, as that we are nearing the, well, that doomsday moment for him, as we are on 9 out of 22 in the lobby. We're waiting for just one more, and then we'll be good to go. But yeah, not anyone joining there, the second TGF. So if they do join midway through qualifying, they will get a late penalty. Also, TGF need to take their car. That'd be a really good idea if he could take his car. So we'll get that.
He just did, thankfully.
It's almost like he's listening. There we go.
AMR have got the RB then. VRM has got the Ferrari, SET in McLaren, then TF10 in the Red Bull, and TGF, well, the single TGF driver in the Alpine.
Indeed, the penalty already having been allocated for them as well for the late lineup. So lobby 2 is just around the corner, ladies and gentlemen, and well, we are hopefully going to have a lovely blast around the circuit of the Americas here with TF10 hopefully set to qualify, but anything is possible. But you've got to say VRM have got a good chance as well. Jeremy Gallagnier is an amazing driver to have doing your qualifying, so definitely keep your eye on them as well. We're waiting for these drivers to ready up. Do they check Discord? Come on. Oh dear. So
I'm trying to get them to ready up, but it's not really working just yet. So we need one more drive to ready up, and then the countdown will start. There, well, no, nearly. There we go, almost.
Let's see if we can get their attention. There you go.
That's a good idea.
Oh, you can't lead. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't necessarily make it drink. This is already a scathing review from Mr. Pike here, who has, I kid you not, just said in the Discord that it is the worst team I've ever been in my life. That is not good reviews to have from your driver. Wow.
It's also disappointing because despite the fact that they were behind the competition in Season 4, they were actually fighting hard for that 9th place. Because, honor for honor's sake, and I really commended them for that. So it's a big shame that they were not able to bring in their second driver tonight. And it's by no means Mr. Pikey's fault, of course. It's yeah, that's very unfortunate. We're gonna get going right now. Otherwise, since I'm the host for all lobbies, I'm going to be late for all of them, and that's really not going to help everybody else very much. So here we are once again, take 2 for Texas with 5 teams or 4.5 pretty much. Let's see what Mr. Pike decides to do, because the default time if a driver doesn't show up is 1 minute 40. And then you'll have to average 1 minute 18 if you want to get close to the CPI lap time as the sole driver, which is absolutely not possible, even if you're the fastest esports driver in the world. So I'm not sure if he's going to drive, unless, of course, the second driver joins in the lobby itself right now as it gets underway. Then they will get a late penalty of 1/4 of a second, which could also, of course, be crucial, but less painful than the default time of 1 minute 40.
Indeed, it absolutely is. If they do manage to get their second driver in, it does definitely help them. But I'm not sure I've got a huge amount of hope here. But we are getting underway here for the second lobby quite nicely here, as pretty much everyone's going to start to filter out quite quickly here for qualifying. Apparently, Daniel is you possibly even using line assist, so not even any certainty as to if he was able to get in, whether it would even be any use necessarily.
Yeah,
but
it's not allowed.
Exactly. So not even. There's no point really showing up, if I'm honest, but hey, it'd be nice to have 10 drivers out of 10 drivers, but missing one, but we will press on nonetheless. Mr. Pike is just going to have a really difficult time dragging his team into contention, and well, it's not going to be much dragging this team, TGF, into contention, which is really sad to see, given how, as you said, they were fighting hammer and tong for sure. It was a low position in the championship, but it showed that they were there. They were competitive and they had a chance. But Aaron Ramiu, I have no idea how to pronounce that last name. I would really struggle. But we've got a couple of cars on the track, and quite a few cars all very close together. The V-Carbs and the AMRs and the TF10s very close to one another on the road, and it's going to be Joel Marquardt who does kick off the action here with the first flying lap, followed quickly by his teammate Sammy Simeon. And now, the first lap time of Lobby 2 gets underway. TF10 set to kick off the action. Where can they stack up in this order? And, Joel Marquardt is certainly going to be hoping he can get a good lap time on the board, kick things off with a bang for TF10, as I'm sure there's going to be plenty of TF10 drivers, people involved, and fans alike here for this lobby. And, this is going to be really interesting as Joel Marquardt. Sector 1, nice, done and dusted. Into Sector 2, nice and quickly. And, this is a flying lap if you've ever seen one, because they are certainly trying to set the bar nice and high early on. And, it's a team you would expect to, just like CPI, who set the benchmark in Lobby 1. TF10, you'd be expecting to set that benchmark time in Lobby 2, but now into the tight hairpin here at the end of this straight, an important one at that, and not a bad lap time so far for Joel Marquardt and for his teammate as well.
Yeah, it seems to be he's struggling a little bit with the car, especially through Sector 1. The car looked a little bit unhappy, a tiny bit unstable. fighting it a little bit, especially coming out of Sector 1. It seemed a bit difficult for Joel McCart, but it looks like he's got it back under control. Maybe the tires weren't perfectly up to temperature yet. Maybe the setup needs a little bit of tweaking. They can do that, of course, as the Parc Fermé rules are off, as we all know. But he's going to go around nonetheless. You can see it, he's here, it's coming out the final corner, but it's already at 29.8, and that's only the banker lap. Sami Simeone can't get close to that. He's got a 30.0. Aaron Dominguez for AMR with a 30.3. VRM's Jeremy Gallagher with a 30.2. And many others are coming in right now. I believe that's Anton Chebodarov with a 31.1 for SET. And the next across the line then, Theo Boulnay. He's going to go in because he invalidated his lap time. And then we're going to switch our attention then to Sonic, who's also invalidated his lap time, meaning that several drivers will have to try again very soon. It looks like Mr. Pike has decided to come out nonetheless, regardless of the late penalty and the default lap time potentially by his non-existent teammate, as he goes through Sector 2 right here. That is actually a 1 minute 0.9, which is quite quick as he drifts through the next corner. Very exuberant driving indeed. Then coming up to the very final bit of the track. Wow, also looking like the car is driving on ice. It's nearly like we're in Las Vegas in real life at the moment with the cars just sliding around like that. Mr. Pike, though, doing all he can in his power to make sure, whoa, this lap time is as quick as possible, but this is definitely not going to help. It comes around the final corner, his car is looking like it's barely running any downforce, and he manages to get in P5 with a 30.8, but I believe there was at least half a second more in that lap if you hadn't made all those tiny mistakes.
Yeah, but even then, not a bad lap time given that mistake, and to not send the car round, that is an amazing save from Mr. Pike. If he's going to take anything away from that, take away the phenomenal save that he made there, because that was just sensational of a save. But yeah, I agree. Definitely not running much downforce on the rear there, because the rear end is just going loose at every opportunity. It is like driving on ice. So definitely maybe a few setup changes incoming, or maybe that is how he likes the car. If that is how he likes the car, fair play for getting any decent level of pace out, because I could not drive like that at all.
No, I probably couldn't do it. Maybe around Monza, because that's where you need low downforce, or Las Vegas itself, you know. But I just watched him on his in-lap as well, as I was following David Martinez, and he was just going off everywhere. So there might be some tweaks necessary to Mr. Pike's setup, and perhaps his mindset as well, because he's going to have to live with the fact that his teammate only has less than 12 minutes remaining, or in fact 10 or 9 minutes to get out there and do a hot lap. And I think it's very unlikely that a second TGF driver is going to be coming in soon. There's been no responses in the Discord from any TGF driver other than Mr. Pike himself. So that's going to be a big problem for him. David Martinez then, without a lap time at the moment, he's going to try for his second attempt with 11.5 minutes remaining on the main straight. His teammate at the moment sitting happily in P4 with a 1 minute 30.3, about half a second clear from what is currently provisional pole position, if this were to be a race, of course. For tire wear's sake, by the way, that's probably good to know in the chat as well. It's been set to 50% distance, so the tire wear is a bit more as what it is supposed to be as in the real season itself when we do actually race. Of course, collisions are off, but there can still be impeding penalties if you decide to mess around in your ghosted car. As David Martinez has cleared Sector 1 already, then comes up to the first of two hairpins. Interestingly, the back straight starts with a hairpin, ends with a hairpin as well, as he goes racing right there onto the back straight. DRS wide open, using quite a lot of overtake already. It seems like a lot of drivers are happy to use much more overtake on the back straight than I initially thought I would, as he only got about 20% battery remaining right now, so that might be a bit of an issue for him coming on the final bit. 1 minute 0.9 is what he has done in this second sector, and then of course one of the trickiest corners of the whole lot, which goes up and down at the same time right here. That is of course turn 16, I believe, from the top of my head. Should probably get the track map open myself either way. But then 2 more corners to go, and then we're going to see whether David can actually match his teammate Aaron Dominguez, who's sitting in P4 at the moment, onto the main straight across the line. It is a 1 minute 30.6, which is about 3/10 clear from his teammate.
Not a bad lap time at all. Here we go, a couple more lap times about to come onto the line. Theo there goes up into 5th, and there's a McLaren of SET there, Anton Chevrolet there beginning a lap time. Is anybody else on a hot lap at the moment? Mr. Pike is on a out lap. Aaron just finished a lap, if I'm not mistaken. Is anybody on a hot lap?
No, he's currently on a hot lap, actually, yeah.
He's on a hot lap. Okie dokie.
Yes, his teammate finished one earlier.
The lead driver on a hot lap at the moment then is Aaron. I still don't know how to pronounce that last name. If I butcher it, I would just probably crawl into a hole. But 8 temps down at the moment as he goes through sector 2. But Sammy Simeone is currently on a very good lap time at the moment. Purple sector 2, a green sector 1. For the TF10 driver, could be about to beat his teammates' lap time quite considerably here, as I expect to see Aaron come into the pit lane. He does come into the pit lane, and now round the final bend comes Sammy Simeone, is now up to the line for the TF10 man and goes to the top.
There we go.
1:29.837, a good lap time there. And a very good lap time to take forward in this qualifying session again. When we think about the drivers that don't need to take any risks, TF10, you got to argue, is one of those teams that can afford to pretty much take every risk on the table at the moment, because they have got so much time in hand versus the competition, and have got a much better lap time at the moment than CPI did in Lobby 1. So not bad at all.
Yeah. Looking at the average, they're very, very close at the moment to the CPI average. Of course, they had a 29.822, 29.892. The average being a 29.857. If I take a quick math on the average of these two drivers, it's about 8.85 as well, more or less. So they are fighting for the top spot at the moment with the CPI team. But we're going to have to switch our attention back to the track. Mr. Pike unfortunately invalidated his lap. Sonic, though, still on his way. 1 minute 1.455 through Sector 2. That means he's not going to be anywhere near Martinez's time, if I remember correctly. He had a 0.9, so about half a second off at the moment. 2 more corners to go, though, and then we're going to find out what Sonic is going to do. Is he going to be close to his teammate for his first proper lap time? It's a 1 minute 31.4, which is currently about as quick as one of the DLX drivers was. So they're going to have to compare themselves to the likes of OP and DLX at the moment.
Yeah, not what they would have wanted at this stage in qualifying, but hey, they've got another couple of laps hopefully to find a little bit more time and put themselves ahead of those teams, and they never know what's going to happen in the other 2 lobbies, right? So it could be a case of that they are actually in the mix a little bit more than they think, even if they do end up kind of in that mid-pack, you know, because that's almost where you want to be, especially at this point. If you're in the middle in Lobby 2, at the end of Lobby 2, you've got a good chance of being in the middle and possibly qualifying come the end of Lobby 4. So not bad at the moment to be kind of on par with the 2 bottom teams from the last lobby, because it's not putting you in too bad of a spot in the kind of grand scheme of things at the moment. But 6 minutes left on the clock. Plenty of drivers on outlaps. Trying to figure out who's the lead driver on an outlap at the moment. It is Jeremy Gallanier.
Yep.
Who has a trademark in his name. I didn't realise VRM have trademarks in their name. That is quite a cool little thing they've got there. But Jeremy Gallanier begins his next flying hot lap here, and he's got a little bit of time to find to take it to the top, but if anyone's going to do it, this man undoubtedly can. Through Sector 1 and down the hill he goes. And well, now through the S section here, what can he do as we head through there and now in towards turn number 7 now, then through 8 and 9. So purple Sector 1 for Jeremy Gallanier, so not a bad Sector 1 time at all. He's coming across Mr. Pike here, who's just in front of him. So what will that Alpine do, who's on an outlap at the moment? Hopefully we'll get out of the way nicely along this straight. Now through the hairpin there at turn 11. And now down the straight towards the braking zone of turn 12. And you see there Mr. Pike there on the left-hand side, moving nicely out of the way. No impeding penalty going there. They don't need another penalty, TGF, so no point in doing that. About a 10th down of Sammy Simeone at the moment for Jeremy Gallinier. So this could be a good lap time to split the two TF10 drivers. As now through and into the double apex right-hander here. And then into the final couple of corners, turn 19 and 20 on its way now. Turn 19, taken absolutely beautifully. Oh, beautifully right on the edge of the track limits on the exit. Now, the final bend for Jeremy Gallinier. Where can this go? It is not an improvement by enough to take into second place, but the lap time up to that point did indicate it, but his teammate is improving as well.
Let's see, next across the line, Anton Chevotarov. Let's see where he goes. Wow, that is a big improvement. 8.5 tenths of a second quicker. Out of nowhere comes the man in the McLaren up to P4, and that's very important for the team indeed. So let's see then if VRM can lower their average as well. Currently, Jeremy 30.1, sorry. But looks like Theo is abandoning his attempt right there as we speak. Then we're going to switch our attention to the only man who is currently on a hot lap at the moment, if I see that correctly. That was Mr. Pike, as he invalidates it again. That's really not going to help his chances to get a proper lap time going, although he's probably feeling like it's pretty hopeless for the team at the moment. Even if the other driver joined now, it's unlikely they're going to make it in time to get their setups, ready and get out on track and get a proper lap in. So I'm afraid to say that it's over for TGF for Season 5. And they will not be able to qualify on the grid at all this time round. Which is a shame, because they were very feisty, they were very competitive last time round. Not for the championship, but against the other team that was on their level. So it's unfortunate to see them go down like this.
It is indeed, as Mr. Pike into the pit lane, and now Aaron out of the pit lane to begin an outlap, and an outlap hopefully that takes him nicely into a better position. No one seems to be on a hot lap, as I don't think David Martinez, yep, he's invalidated there, so he's not going to finish that lap. Interesting feature with the game where the RBs appear to be changing colour. I'm not sure if you're noticing that as well, Frost.
Are they? I haven't seen that.
Yeah, the RBs through certain corners with the light seem to be going from blue to black on the side pods.
Interesting. I'm going to keep an eye on that one. I don't
game,
care about lap times anymore. I want to see RB cars changing color now.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting thing. But yeah, I'm not quite sure why this game has, they can't get photo mode right.
I'm wondering about other features and stuff about this game as well. So
exactly right. They can't get photo mode right. They can't get.
Like when they meant to reduce smoke, they actually increased it somehow. That was impressive.
That was really quite something. And then they're still really bad as well, from what I've seen. And now we've got color changing cars, despite the fact that apparently they've made the game look visually better. Yet somehow they've managed to break it even more in the process. It's impressive, but let's see if the lap time that Aaron can do here for AMR is going to be just as impressive as the game's shoddy coding. Let's see what he can do now as he goes through Sector 1 here to begin his next flying lap time here. And we have just a minute left on the clock. Everybody is out on track. And through Sector 1, not looking too shabby at the moment for the RB, and AMR here is now about a 10th improvement there through Sector 1. And in towards Sector 2, in towards the downhill braking zone here, and in towards turn number 11 here, and nicely taken. And a driver has joined, clearly a little bit confused as to how the lobbies are working here for qualifying night. I think he has may have interpreted the lobby already being open, but here we go. Just final flying lap for all of these to go, and then we'll be swiftly into lobby 3. But 2 tenths, nearly the improvement for Aaron, but not improving by enough as he's invalidated anyway.
Yeah.
what can the rest of the field do here? As Anton and David Martinez haven't even made the line, which is quite interesting here. Just seeing who is going to be the first driver to actually cross the line. It's going to be Theo, who's improving by about 0.4 of a second. That could take him up to about third at the moment to where his teammate is, and he will now come around the final lap time. Good thing he didn't invalidate, because this could be a lap time that the team really do need. Up to the line goes third.
Oh, wow, yeah.
That's a good improvement.
That's crucial.
Very crucial improvement there. And now Sonic to come across the line for SET.
Yep, let's see. He needs to find a whole lot of time. He's about 0.6 away from the next car on the line. That is TGF's Mr. Pike. So let's see if he can lower the average by quite a margin. Right now he's about a second clear from his teammate, but he doesn't improve, and that is going to be a big problem for the team. Sami Simeoni and Joel Makar don't improve either. Their lap times stay the same, and that means only Jeremy Gallagher is on his way at the moment. He's about a 10th up through the middle sector. He might potentially be on course to beat both TF10 drivers to the line. That would be quite interesting to see a last gasp provisional pole stealing from the runner-up team from last season by this man, who I believe drove for ZNT at the start of last season at the very least. I believe he even qualified for them during the qualifying night in Abu Dhabi during that season. But let's see, is it going to be fastest? No, I believe it was actually P3 for the Frenchman, but the most important thing is for them is that the lap time average has definitely benefited from this lap time.
Absolutely.
There you are, P3.
Sami Simeoni there, P1, and what a lap time it was. And then Joel Marquardt in second, Jeremy Gallagher third, Theo Bones there in fourth. Good lap times for VRM. That should hopefully see them through, and a good lap time from both of them should definitely play a good part in that. Then Anton, Mr. Pike, who qualified on his own, and unfortunately I don't think TGF have qualified here. Then Aaron and David Martinez there, 7th, 8th, not bad lap times from either of them, doesn't necessarily put them out of contention. And then Sonic for SET, giving them a fairly decent average, probably about on par with AMR, I would have thought, but that is Lobby 2 done and dusted. Now we've just got Lobby 3, we're already halfway through. It's going quickly. And it is going very, very nicely here. It's going to be a slow burner, but at the end of this, we've got a good idea as to who will be qualifying and who will not. Who's going home early. And, well, at the moment, not looking too bad for VRM, not looking too bad for CPI, definitely not looking bad for TF10 either.
The average difference between TF10 and CPI is 2 milliseconds. Have you seen that?
I have. I've just seen that.
That is incredible.
Wow.
I'm sure it's not going to be the difference between qualifying and not qualifying. I think both teams are quite safe, but still, that is interesting.
Yeah, I definitely expect both teams to be safe with the lap times they've set, but really interesting to see that there. The gap's so small between both of those teams, and obviously any penalties could wreak a little bit of havoc, but hey, what is life without a little bit of chaos to throw a few surprises? Lobby 3 is getting set up and will be on its way shortly. We're just getting that all set up and good to go, but your summary and key points here in qualifying as things stand for Season 5. Well, disappointing for TGF. They haven't been able to qualify because one of their drivers seemingly may have forgotten that there was any competition ongoing. But from Lobby 2, your standout teams, TF10, VRM, both you'd think comfortably through, and CPI as well, just 2,000 separating the difference between both of those teams, and both of those teams hopefully you would think through. But as things stand as well, I would say that the team next and most likely to sneak through could be AMR. because they have got an average of 30.4, which is better than OP and DLX. So they are the top contender of maybe the long shot teams at the moment. So, not looking bad for them, as they are not far behind the top 3 teams as it stands.
Right, I'm hoping every setting is correct right now. There we go. Yes, indeed they are. Yeah, I'm watching the nice little sheet right here. CPI by 2 milliseconds, the fastest of the lot at the moment. Then, of course, followed by TF10. VRM, AMR are fighting out for 3rd and 4th at the moment. 30.02, then a 30.4. So VRM quite a lot faster on average than AMR right now. AMR about 3/10 clear from OP, who are currently sitting in P5. Then SET in P6 with a 30.8885, which is a very nice average indeed. Then DLX sitting in P6 and a TGF currently last of the lot with all the penalties and stuff added with an average of 35.3. So unless other teams get a massive penalty, which means a whole lot of teams will have to get that, they will not be on the grid indeed, as you just said. We're currently watching the 3rd lobby fill up at the moment, and we will have a lot of veteran teams from last season in this lobby as well. We've got NLR, we've got EVE, we've got TTN, and we've got ABS alongside IRT, who I believe were also at qualifying night in Season 4, but they didn't make the cut. So let's see if they've upped their game and will be able to qualify this time round. And then, of course, there's one more lobby remaining with, and yeah, hold on to your seats. They will have 6 teams in the final lobby, and that's going to be quite fascinating.
Indeed, it's definitely going to be a really good time to go. We are hopefully getting that lobby nice and sorted. We've got 11 drivers in already, actually. 10. Turns out. I saw that. I looked in the bottom. I was like, 10. So I believe we are only... Are we waiting for anybody? Or are we good to go?
I don't think that. I think we're actually complete.
We are good to go. So... Let's get this party started. Lovely. Yeah, I think we've got... Well, we're only supposed to have 5 teams.
Yeah, 2 TTM, 2 NLR, 2 EV. Yeah, I see a 2 of all.
5 teams, let's go, let's do this. We have got Lobby 3 coming your way.
Yeah, a quick introduction to all of them. For TTM, we've got, he's called Meow at the moment in Steam, but I believe it's Guti Balint. A very familiar name indeed. Of course, another very, very familiar name for TTM is Lighty, and they are in the RB car. Then for NLR, who are the champions of Season 3, they were in the midfield last season. We've got Victor Whittler and Herman Polyakov in the Red Bull. For EVE, they were fighting for the bottom of the field last season round. We've got Nicolino and Stephen Vasso in the McLaren. Then for IRT, we've got Scenario and Redmerks. I hope I pronounced that one correctly. Redmer RZ, actually, it's supposed to be. And they are in the Mercedes. Then for ABS, I believe we had Lolo Vera and... I just missed the last one. I tried to find it in the... Marcos Olmedo, I think it was, unless he was replaced. No, never mind. Pascal Ranielli. Both of them familiar names for the team as well, and they are in the Aston Martin. So let's find out what these 5 teams can do compared to the rest and compared to each other in this lobby. Now, I'm curious to know whether teams would actually prefer to be in the earlier or in the later lobbies, because if it were to me, I would prefer to be one of the last teams to qualify, because then you've got something to compare yourselves to.
Yeah, it's really interesting, the sort of like the mindset that these teams go for. I think if I was a smaller team, definitely go earlier on, because there's less pressure, right? If you're to go right at the death of it, all of a sudden, you're in a really tough spot, especially if you aren't expecting to qualify. If you go right at the end, it's not going to help your confidence going into it. So going early, I think, for the smaller teams, such a powerful thing to do. But if you're one of the more established teams, I don't think it really matters. I think kind of mentally, and from like a mentality point of view, these drivers, they are in a way machines. They treat this like any other any other event, any other racing lobby. So, you know, I don't think these drivers are necessarily going to be too worried about it. I think, you know, if they're going in lobby 3 or 4, it's just a case of head down, do the best we can. If we're supposed to qualify, the result will follow. I think that's probably the mindset. I mean, we're expecting TTM to qualify, NLR as well, I'd say. Both we should expect to see qualify, but any other teams? Complete guess, I'd say. I think ABS have got a good chance, though.
Yeah, not everybody is so optimistic about ABS. I'm watching in the chat and already somebody's saying ABS is out 100%. Well, let's see if both drivers can prove this man wrong who's talking about them in the chat like that. They'll probably have a mission right now to proving very wrong indeed. The first driver, though, who's going to be setting a hot lap right now, is going to be Guti Balint, also known as Meow here in the lobby at the moment. The Hungarian, a very familiar name indeed. We've seen him along many different places. Of course, driving for several teams already this season for TTM. We've seen him in WR as well, driving, I believe it was Tier 3. But he's going to start his hot lap at the moment as we follow him on board, straight heading towards turn 1. Uphill we go straight away, and let's see how fast he's going to be at the first sector. A little bit of a twitch there of the steering wheels. He tried to keep the car under control. Don't worry, Guti. This is just a banker lap, so no harm done just yet. But it would still be nice to get a quick banker lap in, so you got something for yourself to compare to later down the line. Then the end of the first sector is going to be at 24.9, which is actually quite rapid indeed. Then out of turn 10, heading towards the first of the familiar 2 hairpins. And then we're going to find out how fast he is in sector 2. Guti Balint, as everybody else has also started their hot laps. All of these teams are complete. All of them have gone out quite early and eager to get going. And this man is going to be the first to set the bar somewhere. Let's see if he can get himself in the 1 minute 29 straight away. As we saw last lobby with the team TF10, they were not able to improve their hot laps whatsoever after that attempt. So that was pretty much their best attempt already. 1 minute 0.900, which is quite decent as well through the middle sector. I'm expecting somewhere between a 1 minute 30.2 and 30.5 right now, but you never really know. Plus, I'm not really good at lap time guessing anyway. Turn 17 and 18 then coming up right here. Full throttle, little bit of battery remaining for Guti Balint. He goes through the final 2 corners. And then we're going to figure out what the lap time is going to be. 1 corner to go, then onto the main straight to the power as soon as possible. It's a 1 minute 30.4. Bang in the middle of my prediction. I'm proud of myself.
Brilliant prediction there, and wow, nearly matched by
Look at that.
Scenario 7 there. Stefan Vasso, wow, what a lap time for EVE as well.
Oh, wow.
What can his teammate do? His teammate invalidated.
That is impressive, yeah.
His teammate is invalidated and spun and done a donut. Interesting. Oh. And, well, we've also had a random driver join us. Not sure what that does for proceedings, as Victor Widler there goes top of the timesheets for NLR, and it seems like pretty much just as quickly as it started. The first lap time's done, and well, not great if you're Herman Polyakov or Nikolin or Lighty, as they've not got valid lap times on the board to begin qualifying, but Victor Widler, what a lap time there, 1:30.223, very close between those top 3.
Yeah, 5 milliseconds between P1 and 2, and then another 2 milliseconds between second and third. That's promising, and 3 different teams as well. We've seen the last 2 lobbies, one team dominating pretty much the entire qualifying session, but this time round, we've got a battle on our hands, at least in this lobby, that's for sure. The average, of course, is far from decided at the moment. ABS's average is about a 1 minute 30.4 or 5, I'd say, at the moment, with Pascal's lap time being a 1 minute 30.7 and Lolo Vera being a 30.2. So they're gonna have to find some time, especially Pascal will have to try that. Of course, the average for NLR and EVE is not known yet, as the other 2 drivers had not been able to set a proper lap time. In fact, one of the McLarens apparently decided to have a little bit of a trip elsewhere. He's gonna come in right now and try again a little bit later. Yeah, I'm curious to see what they can do. 3 drives without a lap time at the moment. Lighty I know him for being a very, very fast qualifier, so I'm expecting him to deliver on this second attempt indeed. But yeah, we've already seen that this track is quite harsh on track limits. Many drivers have to do several runs to get it right. So let's hope for his sake that this one will be all right.
Well, that random person has left the lobby, and Lighty will now take to the Circuit of the Americas for what he hopes will be his first flying lap that he manages to get on the board, as he's not got a lap time on the board yet. But up through Sector 1 we now head as we head up the hill once more, and well, hopefully a valid lap time is on its way for the TTM man as we head through the S section here, and he has a Lewis Hamilton helmet. Is he driving like Lewis Hamilton though? Well, he's absolutely got a bit of beans to the start of this lap time. What can he deliver as now we head through sector number 2, and nicely taken from him as now down the hill we head, and well, into a tricky corner. Easy to lock the brakes here, as a small little lock up there, but nothing too major, and well, I'm sure that smoke will cause the next 10 cars behind to have problems seeing into the corner, but for Lightly, no problem at all, and well,
we love bashing this game.
we do. 10-12 now here as now through the heart into Sector 3, and about a 10th off what Victor Widler has done up to this point, according to the telemetry on my screen. And well, not a bad lap time from the mighty qualifier, as you say. Frost, known to be a good qualifier now through the double right apex corner here. Into the final 2 bends, very fast left, and then a slightly slower left, but both just as important. And now up to the line for the TTM man. A little bit of a slide on the rear, but wow, what a lap time! A 10th better than anybody else has managed so
I
far.
knew we could do it.
And the faith
that is impressive indeed.
What a lap
But
time.
here's the thing though, none of these teams are currently close to CPI in TF10. None of them have managed to do a 29 on their first run, which is definitely saying a lot about TF10's qualifying pace. It's a shame though, but we can't see FER's qualifying pace for this season, because they of course got their free card thanks to their championship last season. But it would have been interesting to see how fast they would have been with 2 drivers in this qualifying lobby. Nonetheless, many other drivers on their way at the moment for the second attempt. I believe Scenario for IRT is currently on his way. Yes, he is. His teammate with a 31.5. which is currently, out of all lap times, the slowest. So Redmer will have to find a lot of lap time in his second attempt. I'm sure he can do it right there. Scenario at the moment, well over a second quicker. Has just cleared the first sector as he approaches turn number 11 in his Mercedes car right there. If Redmer can manage that lap time as well, they'll have a quite good average, somewhere close to what AMR is currently doing. Scenario at the moment, I believe there was a 24.7 through Sector 1, which is actually almost the quickest out of all of them. I've also just decided to up my telemetry right there, as you were talking about it. 8 milliseconds faster than his previous attempt through the middle sector. A bit of a sliding going on right there through turn 13 and 14, and then just a few more corners to go. Almost out of the track right there, nearly invalidated his lap. You'll have to be careful to improve this lap time even by the tiniest margin. Could absolutely be crucial. Right now he's just a little bit quicker than Guti Balind with 1 more corner to go as he goes across the line. It is going to be a 1 minute 30.283, which is a decent improvement, getting closer to Lolo Vera and lowering the average by a little bit there.
Indeed, a good little chunk taken out, and not a bad lap time at all for him. I'm keeping an eye to see, is anyone on a hot lap at the moment? While Victor Widler is on a hot lap. Is he improving though? He wasn't improving through Sector 1, was improving slightly through Sector 2, a purple sector in Sector 2. What can he muster as he now comes across the line? He does go faster and takes that spot back away from Lighty there, and back up into P1 there for the NLR man. So NLR looking very good at the moment, and well, Stephen Vasso is on a purple Sector 1, but losing time in Sector 2 has come to hurt him, unfortunately, here. And his teammate not having a lap time on the board is going to hurt the team even more if they aren't able to get a lap time come the end of qualifying here. So Stephen Vasso round the final. A couple of bends now of his flying lap time here. What can he manage? Now the final bend to go for him. Taken very nicely there. Bit of a rear end slide on the exit though. That's not going to help him too much. 2.5 tenths down on the lap time he would have wanted. Not ideal. Next across, Lolo.
Lolo Vera then, with a 30.230 at the moment. Across the line is going to be a 30.001, faster down the lot. And I think already with this lap time alone, they've proven the doubt is wrong, because that is a blistering lap time. It's still not the fastest, but at least for now, it's the fastest out of this lobby. And that is definitely going to be very helpful for them indeed. Let's hope for ABS's sake that Pascal Ranieri will be able to put in an absolute flyer like Lolo did. Lolo, sorry, at the next possible opportunity for him with 6.5 minutes remaining. I believe Herman Polyakov, yes, has just started his hot lap as he approaches turn 1 right here. Let's see, one of 2 drivers still without a lap time. This is one of his last chances. If he messes this one up, he might be back in time for another run. But if he does manage to get it done, it will have to be a very fast one, because I'm not entirely sure he'll be able to get back in time for another run. First sector, 24.6. Now that is actually pretty fast. I'm looking at the board at the moment. That is one of the faster lap times in the first sector we've seen so far. As he heads toward turn 11, he's gonna have to find as much time as possible. He hasn't got anything for himself to compare to. All he has right now is Redmer's time of a 31.2, but that is half a second clear from the next car of Pascal Ranieri. Redmer at least has improved by 0.3 of a second, which could be very important by the end of all 4 lobbies. Herman Polyakov, 1 minute 0.622 through the middle sector, which is also really fast indeed. That is a 35.9 through sector 2 alone, which is, I'm trying to find out which one was the purple one. That is actually very close to the purple one, because a 35.8 is the fastest which I can find right now. So he's very close to that. Looks like Herman Polyakov might put NLR properly on the board, with Victor Whittler currently sitting in second position. Herman then, is he going to join him? No, but it is not too far back with a 1 minute 30.133. Now that is good news for the no longer reigning champions of NLR.
Indeed, and well, Lighty is on another hot lap here and improving by about nearly 0.2 of a second there through sector 2, but the rear end getting all slidey there out of the exit, I believe, of turn number 15, so not too good there, as he will have lost a bit of time, but he's got time to come into the pit lane, change the tyres and go again. Is that what he opts to do? It is indeed. So, opting to back into the pit lane, try it again, but a couple of drivers on a lap time. I believe it's Nicolino there, who is on a lap time now, and he's the only driver on a lap time at the moment, with Redemers and Meow on out laps at the moment. But what can the other EVE do? Stephen Vasso in 5th, his teammate in 10th. They need a lap time here.
Let's see, because he has the pressure is pretty much less than 4 minutes remaining. If this one isn't very fast, but it looks like it might be, 1 minute 0.4 is absolutely blistering. I have to say, I was a little bit doubtful about EVE qualifying for this season, judged on based on their last season's performance, but it looks like they found potentially 2 very, very quick drivers with Stephen Vasso and Nicolino. So Nicolino has got 2 more corners to go. If he keeps it within the white lines, and it looks like it's going to happen this time round. 3rd time's a charm then for Nicolino. Round the final corner, a little bit of a twitchy moment, a 30.204. Definitely going to be a very strong average for EVE, and their hopes for Season 5 have just gotten a major boost, because that is remarkable from the team that were 9th or 10th last season in the standings. Very impressive indeed, and potentially good news for them later down the line.
Indeed, Meow invalidating on their hot lap there in I believe that was turn 12 they invalidated as well. Really interesting to see now. IRT with Redmers there beginning to go through sector 2 here, and not much in terms of a representative couple sector times to look at in terms of what they've got. So far, you'd hope though an improvement on the cards here, with a driver in 10th, a little way off the next car in front. They need a good lap time as well, with EVE TTM, NLR, and ABS all looking quite decent. Just need Pascal Ranieri to get a good lap time across the board, and as well as Meow, who invalidated on his most recent attempt. If they can both get good lap times, IRT are not looking the best at the moment, but what can Redhams do here is now round the final couple of bends of this lap time. Not got time to come into the pit lane, change tyres and go again. So this has to be the final attempt here for the IRT man. What can he manage? Round the final bend now. It's not going to be anywhere near the benchmark set by Lolo Vera. And it's not even that much of an improvement. That is gut-wrenching for IRT, whose chances of qualifying fall ever so slim. And, not ideal for them at all.
That's going to be a 30.7 average, somewhere in between that at the moment, which is about as fast as OP and SET are at the moment. So that is going to be very, very close for them, depending on how the final 6 teams will be doing, of course. But yeah, there's still Scenario is currently on his way. And he's actually about to start a hot lap right now, but many others are on their way at the moment. Lolo Vera is currently driving as fast as he can, and he's actually the first to set their final attempt. Can he go to the 1 minute 29 out of this lobby? The first driver to do so in lobby number 3. I have to say, on average, though, if you compare all of these lap times to the other 2 lobbies, this lobby has been the most competitive by far. All of them are very close. The difference between P1 and P8 at the moment is about 4.5 tenths, which is not very much on a track like this. Lolo Vera, though, can he make that difference a little bit bigger between himself and the man in 8th position? That is Guti Balint, who has retired in the pit lane. Same goes for Nicolino. Neither of them having enough time remaining to get another hot lap in. But it is Lolo Vera, as I said, that will be crossing the line first, followed by Scenario, who might be the man to save their team from getting into the season or not. That could be very crucial, this final attempt. Lolo Vera, though, is potentially going to try and break the 1 minute 29 barrier with only a couple of more corners to go. The Aston Martin, a little bit of a twitchy moment as Redmer retires in the pit lane there. Of course, no time for him either, as the... I got disconnected, so we'll have to take over from me. I'm not sure what happened there.
No worries. Lolo round the final bend now to set what hopefully will be an improvement for him. Can he get into the 1 minute 29s? What has happened? I've disconnected as well. What on earth? I have no idea what has happened.
Oh dear.
Oh dear.
So it's not on my end then.
Nope, not on your end. It does appear that the lobby has given up. I'm not sure what happens in this instance. We can't really redo the lobby. And it wouldn't really be fair to redo the lobby. Oh dear. The game has broken. And I have no idea what happens.
I'm going to have to see if okay, I'm back online now, so I can at least make the final lobby.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I need comments from someone as to what happens. We've really got really interesting. But we're trying to find out what's happening at the moment, because this is not what you would expect when it comes to this.
Yeah, it's another one of those things of this game, isn't it?
Indeed. We're seeing about what we can do in terms of sorting the lobby out and getting a possible rerun for those teams affected. what we may end up doing is including as well, there's a couple other teams that are saying that they had some screen freezes and lag from someone joining in their lobby. So AMR and TF10 have requested a refund, not a refund, a rerun. So what we could have is we could have a lobby 5 coming up, which will have, well, 7 teams in. So, what we're going to do is we are going to get, see what we can do there. Really confusing what's just happened, ladies and gentlemen. The game has so many features, and it likes to break on you because it just has so many of them. I despise this game sometimes. What has happened? You think everything's going smoothly and well, and then the game just says psych and throws an absolute curveball at you. So we are just figuring out what's going to happen. But what is likely going to happen here is we are going to have a 5th lobby that includes the teams that are affected from this lobby as well as those in the previous lobby as well. I love the idea of a refund. Everyone going, oh, refund, I'll take that. So, really interesting. I love the idea of changing over to Trackmania. That's brilliant. So, we're just trying to figure out what's happening. It does appear we are going to have Lobby 4 getting underway in a second, and then we will figure out what's happening in terms of Lobby 5. Now, Frost, I do need to quickly take a couple of seconds away. So, I'm going to leave the viewers in your hands with a blank camera screen. So, feel free to talk about what we were looking at up until that point in qualifying before the game had a bit of a moment.
Will do. Well, according to the Discord, a lot of drives were on an improvement, several claiming they were on for a 29.9 or even a 29.8 scenario, in Lola Vera being 2 of them. So that means they have been robbed of a proper chance, and already it has been confirmed indeed that the drivers who were on a proper hot lap will get another chance in an extra sort of lobby, and it might just be 1 run. I cannot tell yet. They are figuring it out at the moment. But we're going to have to switch our focus to the final lobby, because there's some very interesting teams waiting for us there as well. I can tell you that in this lobby we'll be finding ET8, also familiar from last season. Same goes, of course, for ZNT. But other than that, there is 4 teams for this lobby that will have a chance to go into Season 5 that were not in the previous season. It's TES, IRS, OVR and ILD, all going for it here in this lobby, and that means we'll have 6 teams indeed fighting it out on this last attempt. Well, not really the last attempt as we normally would have had, because of course we'll have, another lobby coming up very, very soon. That means the results at the moment stay the same, with CPI being the fastest, and I think even if the others had improved, CPI and TF10 would probably still have been the fastest on average anyway. As for 3rd place, VRM still stands there at the moment. I feel like one of the other teams in the previous lobby would have come very close. Maybe TTM or NLR, for example, would have been very close to that top spot indeed. AMR currently sitting in P4, OP in P5, and SET P6, DLX currently P7, and TGF in 8th place right now. That's what we have for the first 2 lobbies. Of course, lobby number 3 decided to die on us. And yeah, I'll admit that was one of my Steam friends deciding to join. He really likes to do that. So for now, to him, I've removed him, because it's apparently also messing up for some people, causing some screen freezes and stuff, which is not a thing you like to see. As you're watching a blank camera screen, yes, normally I would try to get my camera set up as well. Welcome back, by the way, but I couldn't get it rolling in time. We're missing one driver, Byron, for the second lobby. I'm trying to figure out, it is one of the ZNT drivers that is missing at the moment. So I'll communicate that to the chat. One ZNT missing. Let's hope they'll get their second driver in, because we only got Formula Kai for the team at the moment. For ET8, we've got Marcel Papst and Bogdan Moldovan in the McLaren. Then for TES, we've got Campbell Adams and Victor Garcia and the Aston Martin as the second ZNT driver just joined. For TES, I just said that. For OVR, we've got Mouchoir and Luevi. I hope I pronounced those correctly. In the Alpine, fittingly, as they are both French. For ILD, we've got Jose Manuel and ER Miko in the Williams car. And then for ZNT, we will be having a Formula Kai, of course, and Reese Fisher, or Rice, might be as well. Let's find out. 12 drivers, they'll be on their way very soon. And interestingly, we've got two Aussies in there as well. So let's hope for their sake, their leg, or their leg will be down to a minimum.
Yeah, hopefully. Really interesting what's happened there. We've got Stephen Vasso. He's not quite got the memo. Wrong lobby. We'll have yours afterwards. Really interesting. What's happened there? Any driver who retired in their respective lobby isn't given a rerun, but everybody else has been, from what I can infer from that. But you could always count on the game to go peep tongue right when you don't want it to.
This is interesting, by the way. So several people from Lobby 3 are going to join this one.
Oh, interesting.
And Lolo Vera says you can't make this one nor the next one, so that is...
So, if they can't get into a fifth lobby, they've been instructed to join,
to join this one.
now.
So Stephen Vaso is in. Let's see if any of the others will be joining.
Interesting. Right, well, this will be really interesting to see what happens here, but, carnage, chaos, confusion, sounds like the F1 game. It does sound like the F1 game all too much. Right, where are we up to?
Yeah, Steven is going to have to pick another car because, of course, EVE was the McLaren team in the last lobby, but this time it's the ETA team. So Steven can pick whichever car he likes. Let's see which car he's going to pick. Now, we don't have the Mercedes team in yet. We also don't have the Saubers or the Haas cars, and he does go for the Mercedes. Stephen Vaso then going to join as the 13th, 14th driver, because there is Lighty there as well. He's also getting his second chance right there for TTM. The other drivers, I think, are going to have their lap times taken from just before when the previous lobby fully crashed. So we're going to have to rewind the stream a little bit for the managers here to get those lap times from that. And then those lap times will be noted down in the sheet, I think. And the other ones will have their chance here. So far, Lighty and Steven have joined. The rest, though, we'll have to go for lobby 5. Not sure if that one is going to be streamed, because I feel like they'll have one attempt by the end of it, and that means we'll have to wait for 15 minutes in the stream. So they might do a quiet run or something like that. Most important thing is, though, everybody else is in, and they are raring to go. They'll have a bit more of a busy track due to 2 extra cars, but it shouldn't really hurt them, as of course, as we all know, ghosting is off. Should actually make sure it is properly off. Let's see. It is actually off. That is excellent. Had to make sure that Parc Ferme was off as well. Otherwise, we'll have different circumstances compared to the other 3 lobbies. And that, of course, wouldn't be fair whatsoever. Time of day, midday, it is always sunny because it would be A very questionable qualifying night if there were rain in one of the lobbies. Indeed, that would definitely not benefit their averages whatsoever. Still though, CPI leading from TF10, 2 milliseconds in between them at the moment. We're going to find out whether somebody can actually squeeze themselves in between them. That would be very brave to do that, to get into those 2 milliseconds separating the top two teams. It's more likely though that they're either going to squeeze in behind or ahead of them. And out of these 6 teams in this lobby, let's see who's got the best shot. I think ZNT could be very quick tonight with Formula Kai and Rice Fisher. TES, of course, could be a very quick one as well. ET8 can pull off a surprise. They've got some quick qualifiers here and there. And then ILD and OVR might be some dark horses or wild cards potentially for Season 5 indeed. I suggest we go, since everybody's in and nobody's missing, and none of the other drivers from the previous lobby have replied to join in this one, so it's probably best to get underway right now. Because everybody else is waiting, and that's everybody likes waiting apparently. Ready up, confirmed now by Byron himself, and that means we'll be getting underway indeed. The Mercedes driver then left. TTM Lighty has chosen the RB car like they had in the previous lobby, so at least they'll have a familiar car with him for Texas one more time at the very least here for Lobby 4, and then we'll see what happens with Lobby 5 in terms of the stream and everything else. I'm watching and seeing what everybody else... Will Lighty get a full session, or will he only have one attempt? I do not know yet.
Right, well, yeah, he gets the full session, Lighty does
Alright.
get the full session, even though it was only a couple of instances of lag, but because of track evolution, the early laps won't really have that much of an impact, so therefore it would be wrong just to give him 15 minutes of sitting in the garage doing nothing. So, yeah, but we are getting the lobby sorted, and the lobby is sorted. We can take you trackside. It's been a bit of a wait. It's been a bit of a while since you've last seen the Circuit of the Americas, and we've had a little bit of carnage, confusion, and everything in between the last time you saw the track. But we have an additional driver in this session. We will have a 5th lobby as well, and
yeah, let's see what they can do. I was just talking about the teams that might potentially be as fast or even faster than CPI and TF10. Who do you think might be a contender for the top spot out of these 6 teams?
Oh, good question. I think it's going to be interesting to see what ET8 can do. Surely they are the team to really keep an eye on and watch. I would say that's probably my pick to maybe take the... be ahead of the bunch. I think they're probably the team with the most chance there. Bogdan Moldovan already on an outlap. In fact, pretty much no one wasting any time getting out onto the track here, as Campbell Adams for TES leads the way on the outlaps, but pretty much 11 cars out on the circuit already, and they are really going to be getting on with these laps quite quickly. More drives in this lobby than any of the previous lobbies. 6 teams were due to be in here, and you've technically got 6.5 with Lighty in this lobby.
I'm trying to see who else we have. For IRS, we also have NTN and Alan Royer. I've forgotten to mention them. Apologies before we actually got going. Campbell Adams, though, is at the front of this long queue of cars. His teammate is a bit further back. Victor Garcia for TES. Both Aston Martins out at the moment. Marcel Pabst is still sitting in the pit lane, frankly, waiting for his attempt a little bit later, as his teammate Bogdan Moldovan will be the 2nd car to get underway. First and foremost, though, it's going to be Campbell Adams for TES. We haven't seen them last season. They're going to give it a go for CSS in Season 5, which we could see as a celebratory season, because number 5 is always a special number to achieve for any series or racing league, wherever you are from. As Campbell Adams heads through turn 1, he looks a little bit laggy from my side. I'm not sure if that's going to be happening all throughout the session. Hopefully not, of course. Let's see if Campbell's own game is stable enough. Car does look quite stable despite the laggy wobbliness going on right there. Sector 1, 24.6, which is actually really fast. At the moment, of course, the fastest of the lot. And the other two drivers, 24.7, 24.9, are not nearly as fast as he is. But unfortunately, he's invalidated coming out of the notorious turn 9 and 10. So that means we're going to switch our attention to Bogdan Moldovan.
Indeed, let's switch our attention to Bogdan Moldovan, who is on a decent lap time at the moment. Hopefully, you know, let's see what we can do here as he now heads through sector number 2. The Discord is getting a bit carnage and chaotic. Some drivers not happy about the full rerun for those affected by issues, but track evolution is needed. Bogdan Moldovan, though, seems to be pretty on it from the get-go. He may not need any track evolution to set a brilliant opening lap time here as he now rounds the final couple of corners through the double right-hander apex. There now into the double left-hander here. And well, not a bad opening lap time for the ET8 man, who now comes up to the line and goes with a 1:30.232. That's a great opening lap time from Bogdan Moldovan. Reese Fisher there, Lighty though, to the top of 1:29.872. That's not going to help the people who are a little bit irritated in the Discord, because, yeah, really interesting there, right on it from the get-go. It's not going to do much in terms of helping those who are irritated about this because, well, they would argue that's unfair. But in the grand scheme of things, it's unfair if they aren't given the opportunity to have another 18 minutes if their time was affected. But Marcel Pabst has got a purple sector 1 to his name, allegedly, there, as he's on a hot lap. I believe he invalidated his run, backed off, and has gone again. So, interesting to see what's going on here.
Yeah, Marcel is not the fastest through Sector 1, if my telemetry has it correctly. There's 2 drivers at the moment quicker than him, if I can see that as quickly as I can. 3 drivers, actually. 4 drivers, in fact, are quicker, but he's already invalidated, so Marcel's attempt can be thrown out of the window, unfortunately, as have been Mouchoir's attempt and Campbell Adams, of course, a little while ago. They're both back out on track for their second attempts. As it stands right now, though, Lighty is the fastest by quite the margin, of course. He already had an almost full lobby to practice in to get his lap time already down there. But we all know Lighty is quick nonetheless. So whether the previous lobby has helped him or not, it is proof that he's a quick qualifier indeed. Bogdan Moldovan sitting in second place with a 30.2 with NTN right behind him with a 30.4. Looks like IRS might potentially be able to qualify here if Alan Royer manages to get a lap time a bit quicker than he is at the moment. 30.992 and sitting in 7th at the moment right there. Victor Garcia for TES in 4th position as we speak. 30.7 then the ZNT drivers with Rice Fisher and Formula Kai 30.7. Both of them actually only 18 milliseconds apart at the moment. Then there's Alan Royer in P7, then Loevi in P8 for OVR with a 31.0. Then ILD with Jose Manuel and ER Miko in P9 and 10 with a 31.0 and a 31.3. They'll have to find a lot of lap time to improve that average because at the moment they are barely faster than DLX. And at the moment, as the other teams have been averaged already, I can confirm at the moment that NLR is sitting in P4. Out of lobby 3, they are the fastest. Then in P5, EVE, TTM P6, ABS P7, and down in P9 is the IRT team at the moment on the verge of not qualifying as OP has been demoted down to P10. But then again, there's still a lot of drivers to set in the lap times and a 5th lobby. Let's see what they can do down the line.
Indeed. Let's see what Marcel can set here as he rounds the final couple of bends. He comes into the pit lane. It wasn't looking like a bad lap time for him. It does look like Campbell Adams is on a lap time as well as McQuire there, who is So they're both looking fairly decent here at the moment. So what we are going to do is see what Campbell Adams can set here as he'll go through the Sector 2 timing split in just a moment. It's allegedly a purple Sector 2. In fact, it is improving on the lap time set by Lighty at the moment.
Yeah, he's half a tenth quicker in Sector 1 and 200ths of a second slower in Sector 2. And then in Sector 3, we'll have to find a bit more time than that. Whoa, that's definitely not going to help. That bit of an oversteering moment in turn 19, then only turn 20 to go. The last corner of the track across the line. It is, he's gotten quite close to it. His first attempt is a 29.9, which is very fast indeed. But he's 1/10 and 1 millisecond off from Lighty at the moment. So, on average, not too shabby. Victor Garcia will have to find some extra time to reduce that average even more for TES to qualify for Season 5. But then again, less than 10 minutes remaining. Still well over 2 attempts for all of these drivers to go. I'm curious to see how they're going to do it, as Mouchois is currently at the first sector through turn 2. We just finished that one right there, sitting in P11 at the moment, 31.258. But... well, to be fair, he's not going very fast, so that looks like he's gotten his lap time done already. This is not his hot lap, this is actually his in-lap. But still sitting only in P11, splitting now both of the ILD cars in his Alpine, which is not good news for now for OVR, nor for ILD, as they're sitting at the back of the field and pretty much at the back of the entire table right now, if my math is correct.
Yeah, pretty much right towards the back as things stand. Keeping an eye on where drivers are. You've got an ILD set to cross the line and begin a hot lap in a second. You've got Bogdan Moldavon, who is on a hot lap at the moment, is improving by a decent amount here. And could be about to set the bar even higher for ETA here, as he does have a rear end slide around the final quarter. That did cost him as well. Major upset there, as that did cost him quite a bit of pace there. Keeping an eye on who's next across the line. I believe that's going to be...
Lighty.
Is it Lighty? Yes, it is indeed. He's had a light moment on the rear as well. Purple Sector 1, Purple Sector 2. Peels into the pit lane, not improving by enough. Next across the line is going to be Victor Garcia here, who is on an improvement, but so were the other two drivers who came across the line, well, were about to cross the line before him. They didn't improve. Can he improve? He does. 0.4 of a second takes him to 4th, ahead of the driver who is now behind him, and at one point was in front of him. So... not bad for him. Reese Fisher into the pit lane as well, as he doesn't improve on his lap. Next, Alan Royer, who sets a lap time, improves by 2 attempts, doesn't gain any positions. And I believe next across the line is going to be the man in 9th of Loavy, who now will go 7th. So a good lap time from him, improving by half a second. That's not too shabby at all. And now we have got a little bit of a moment until the next driver comes across the line, who I'm not even sure who is next across the line.
None of these, actually, because the first across the line is going to start a hot lap. That's Marcel Pabst for his second attempt. His teammate sitting still in P3 with Campbell Adams on the front row at the moment. But Victor Garcia has definitely helped TES quite a lot with his lap time. That was about 4 or 5 tenths quicker than his previous attempt. Loavy is also doing a good job for OVR in the Alpine at the moment, as he's managed to put in a 1 minute 30.4. And now he's going to have to look at his teammate to improve quite a lot. At the moment, ILD are on the back marker and the back foot with their Williams car right there. 31.0, 31.3. They're going to have to find a lot of time as Marcel pops through the first sector. 24.5, I believe I just saw there. And that is 24.6, actually, according to my telemetry. But I think that might have been actually the fastest out of them all. So Marcel is definitely doing a good job for the ETA team indeed. His teammate, as I said, sitting in 3rd position. He's sitting in last right now, the only driver without a lap time with 6 minutes and a little bit remaining. The pressure is definitely on for the Austrian as he goes to turn 12 right there, the second hairpin out of the 2. And the end of the second sector is a 1 minute 0.553, which is actually quite decent. And I can confirm to you right now that indeed the first sector was purple, 24.5, which is, well, nearly a tenth quicker than Lighty was. So, through the middle sector, though, he has lost about a tenth and a little bit. So, he could still be on for provisional pole if he manages to nail the final 2 corners not going too wide through turn 19, and that not going too wide through turn 20 either. Let's see if he can manage to do that. Yes, he can. Is it fast enough? Well, it is fast enough for second place for sure. And that is going to bring the cheers for ET8 up for real this time, because now they've got a properly good average.
Indeed, they have got a very good average and a very good lap time there from him, I think. Really good to see everything coming together for just quite a few teams as well. ET8 so good, TTM and TES as well. Not looking bad at all. It's looking really saucy in this lobby. We may have had some issues getting it started, but once it's happened, it has really ramped up.
Yeah, I'm currently watching the Discord also a little bit to see what's going to happen exactly for lobby number 5. I can't figure it out exactly, but we'll have most likely got a full run anyway, because Lighty does so as well, as he will not be able to make lobby 5. He's also on his way at the moment, once again, to see if he can actually do that improvement he was on for in the last attempt, because he was a 10th up through Sector 2. Is he going to do so again? No, this time he's a little bit slower, 25 milliseconds off his previous lap time, but there's still one more sector to go, but I doubt he's going to be satisfied with this one, and I think he's rather going in early to get ready for the final attempt than to finish this lap, because he was quite slidey there through turn 15 and 16 at the same time. So probably not going to be a brilliant lap from him, and not the fastest, and invalidated as well, so that means it's definitely over for Lighty for now at least. Switching our attention then to NTN, we haven't seen a lot from him yet. We all know that he's 7th at the moment with a 30.4. Let's see what he can find then through the final sector. Middle sector was a 36.0. Across the line he goes. It is an improvement, but only marginally by 12 milliseconds. Next then to cross the line, I believe, is Rice Fisher. A 10th up through sector 2 at the moment. A little bit wobbly on turn 19 right there. Looks like connection-wise he is quite stable indeed across the line. 30.3, that is 4/10ths quicker through the final sector. He's found a lot of time there. Well done to him, getting him very close to his teammate. Currently sitting in P6 and P5 for both Ferraris.
Indeed, not looking bad at all, and keeping an eye on who's on an outlap at the moment. It's Loavi on an outlap, as well as a couple other cars who are having a decent outlap at the moment.
Yeah, both Williams cars are coming back in. They're still struggling to get a lap time done. Neither of them have improved so far, and only 3 minutes remaining going in this late, especially Jose, who will have to wait for his teammate to be towed back into the garage. He might not make the checkered flag in time to get this final attempt going. Miko might, but Jose Manuel might not. Either way, Loavi on his way to try and get that average even lower. He managed to get a 30.4 in last time round. This time, though, he's going to try and go even quicker than that. Let's see what he can do through this lap, indeed.
Indeed. I'm noticing Omar not particularly happy in the YouTube chat, and promptly timed out, in my opinion. Rightfully so, complaining just because other people getting a rerun, well, if their qualifying's impeded, that's what happens. So just figuring all of that. But Loavi is on a hot lap at the moment. And well, this will be his final flying lap in this qualifying session. There's not enough time to get in, change tyres and get back out. So this will be the best it goes for Loavi here if this lap time's an improvement. Improving by 2.5 tenths of a second there. So not a bad lap time at all. Could take him up to about 4th at the moment. So not a bad lap time at all. So let's see what this man can do for OVI. His teammate isn't necessarily too in the mix, but if he can get a good lap time, the average could certainly help him here as we get the Alpine across the line. What can he do? Goes up to 6th. That's not a bad lap time at all from him, as now Alan Royer begins his final flying lap time. And now everything begins to fall into place as the final lap times begin for the rest of the field here. And it is going to be a real interesting end to this qualifying session. What can Alan Royer do? But more importantly, what can the rest of this grid do?
Yep, ILD will have one more shot at improving. This is still their first lap time as Rice Fisher retires in the pit lane Of course, he's got no more time to come back out with only 50 seconds remaining and counting. As Alan Royer is on the back straight at the moment. The Williamses are still on their out laps, as is Mouchoir. Marcel Paps is still going for a tire warm-up, and the rest has already started their hot laps. Excluding NTN, of course, which is Alan Royer's teammate, through the middle sector, then Alan Royer with a, well, 2/100ths of a second improvement, which is not big. He needs to find a lot of time to get closer to his teammate. 3.5 tenths, well, actually much more than that. In fact, 4 tenths preferably, to get ahead of his teammate for sure, and to bring down the average to pretty much what NTN has done so far. Just 2 more corners to go then for the Spanish driver as he comes around the final corner. IRS then, let's see what they can do for the average. A 1:30.7, it's not good enough to improve mostly, but it might still be enough to qualify. We'll have to find out later down the line. More drivers to cross though, well, let's see what their lap times are going to be.
Indeed, and well, next across the line, I believe, is the man in 4th of Bogdan Moldavon. He improves by 4 tenths of a second, but doesn't appear to be enough. I think he actually may have invalidated in the final couple of corners there, actually. I believe Victor Garcia is next across the line. His teammate, Adam Campbell's, I don't think improved. And if he did improve, not by enough. Oh, he didn't improve by enough to gain a position here. Formula Kai next across the line, followed by, I believe, Lighty there. What can Formula Kai do? The rear end slides on the exit. He doesn't improve. Lighty does improve, but I think
he doesn't.
No, he doesn't. It shows
he's a millisecond slower.
It showed as an improvement on my screen. I have no idea what this game is doing. It doesn't seem to quite know itself. But Mouchoir is the next driver to cross the line. He's ran wide on the final corner, so he won't get to set that lap time either. Now Miko for ILD. What can he manage as he comes around the final bend? He's not making a massive headway. Has he improved position? He managed to improve a position.
Yeah.
So, really anticlimactic. Not many improvements there, but Lighty, second time's the charm, you may say, because, well, his first lap time was the best lap time, and, well, a 1:29.872. That's really good for TTM. Obviously, controversial circumstances playing into that slightly, but there again, others do get a chance to go back as well. Adam Campbell's there in second for TES, but his teammate down in 8th. A little bit difficult there, quite a few attempts separating them as well, so not the best in terms of the average. Marcel Paps, then Bogdan Moldavon, Formula Kai, Lawavy, Reese Fisher, Victor Garcia, then NTN, Alan Royer, Jose Manuel, and then Miko and Mouchoir rounding out in 13th there, so OVR a little bit out of the hunt there, I would think, in terms of the chance of qualifying, as well as ILD and IRS, which ILD is a disappointing team not to see qualify, but ETA, mega job there, and as expected, beautiful, brilliant, clinical. It's just exactly everything you want to see.
Yeah, they will not be the quickest out of them all, but they probably won't care a single bit as long as they qualify, am I right?
Exactly. I think for them, the important thing is getting through, qualifying, and doing the job. And, well, they have absolutely managed to do that today. We head back to comms cameras as we await a little bit of news on the what's happening specifically with the on the session, just to see what happened. And Lighty said, "What a bottle! Hopefully we make it somehow." He makes it sound like...
We're going to find out in a few seconds.
He makes it sound like...
He's not very confident.
He made it sound like he didn't do a very good job. He did a very good job. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it was actually only half a tenth of the fastest time overall.
Exactly. So I think he's maybe not too confident, and I don't quite understand why he's not too confident there, because well, all things said and done, he's not had a bad time at all there. Trying to figure out, just waiting on...
I'm just going to set up the lobby just in case.
Yep, I there's a few people waiting just to see what's happening. We definitely do set a lobby up just in case. There's a couple of drivers saying about it. So what's going to happen now, ladies and gentlemen? We've had a few issues you may have noticed if you've been watching us pretty much the entire way through. As a result, a couple of drivers are getting a lobby rerun. So that's a full 18 minutes lobby rerun, seen as the cleanest way to do it, based on the fact there will be some track evolution even in a preset lobby. So the most fair way to do it would be to just give them a full 18-minute session. And then the fastest time between both of those will be taken, and then that is the time they are set with. If a driver's not able to make it to this session, they will not be given a rerun at a later date. This is a final opportunity for those to get a rerun if they feel they need it. So we are waiting news on what is happening, just waiting to find out what drivers we're expecting as well in this lobby. It does appear Jeremy Gallanier is online, so it does appear he will be taking into this lobby, I would have thought. And I'm just waiting to see what we have got. Those who are possibly joining us is both NLRs of Victor Widler, Herman Polikov, then Stephen Vasso, Scenario 7, then Pascal Ranielli, Joel Marquardt, and Aaron can join us.
Can I just say, there's some pressure for some of these drivers, for Pascal Ranielli especially. Lolo Vera couldn't make it. Pascal Ranielli is there for ABS. And ABS are currently in P11 in the standings of all teams combined. And they might potentially bump out ZNT.
Indeed.
If Pascal manages to go quicker.
Exactly. So, like, this, if anything, gives us more of a talking point here. In fact, actually, looking at kind of what we've got. ABS, they just need a very small improvement. Actually, they do need quite a large improvement, actually, looking at that. Let me make sure I got
the thing is, though,
right.
the 30.7 is from Pascal himself. Loda said the 30.0. But like I said, Loda couldn't make it. He was the one who was supposed to rejoin, I think. Now they've managed to get Pascal in. So if that means Pascal's lap time might potentially be overwritten then. AMR, by the way, also have a driver in at the moment, and they are currently sitting in 12th place on average. Which means if they improve by enough as well, that if both ABS and AMR improve, that EVE might also be tipped out, and EVE also has a driver in this lobby. So, lobby number 5 might potentially throw out 2 teams and bring in 2 others. We'll have to find out. There's currently 6 in. From EVE, we've got Stephen Vasso. We've got Aaron Ramingus from AMR. We've got Victor Whitler for NLR. We've got Pascal Ranielli for ABS. TF Chen's Joel Marcar is in as well for some reason. I believe he wasn't even lobby 3. And Scenario for IRT. And currently IRT is sitting 14th in the standings. And it is Scenario who's joined. He's already set a fast lap time. Their second driver was the one with the 1 minute 31.191. IRT's Scenario is going to have to pull off a miracle to get themselves into the top 10. Because on average, they are behind by about 0.4 of a second to ZNT, who are currently sitting in 10th. So there's a lot to play for these drivers. In fact, we see another one joining. That's Herman Polyakov. Although NLR doesn't have to worry whatsoever, because whatever happens, they've qualified either way.
Indeed, at the moment. But hey, may as well try and set that benchmark higher if they can. Just waiting to see how many we're supposed to have. 7 is the max in this lobby, so we are good to go. So, let's get this show on the road. Another 18 minutes, an unexpected extra 18 minutes, but for these drivers, a crucial final 18 minutes is upon. And just to double check who we've got, have we got Victor, Herman, Pascal Ranielli, we've got Stephen Vasso, Scenario, Joel, and Aaron. Yep, we've got all 7 that were eligible for a redo, and well, they are going to get an 18-minute session just to decide how their team does. So let's get these guys racing.
I just have to say, though, I think every team from TTM upwards, so TTM, TES, NLR, ET8, VRM, TF10, and CPI are pretty much safe. EV and ZNT will have a nail-biting session coming up for them. Same goes for ABS and AMR. I think IRT, no matter what Scenario is going to do, are out. Yeah, I'm curious to see how they will do it. It looks like we'll have 2 teams in 2 different cars. TF10 and NLR will have a Red Bull. IRT and NLR will have a Mercedes.
Yes.
Doesn't really matter though. We'll have to just to recognize them by their gamer tags. That's the best thing we can do for now. Doesn't really matter either way. The cars are equal, and the most important thing is the lap times they're going to set.
Yeah, exactly. Really interesting to see. We are going to be getting Lobby 5, unexpected Lobby 5 underway. Now, let's take you trackside for one final time, one final 18-minute session to decide it all. And, unexpected, no doubt, but an interesting session ahead of us, and one that could be really interesting for this, for the implications for this are huge in the event that a team gets knocked out due to this. I expect probably the conversation to go long into the night if that is to happen, but we've got 17 and a half minutes to find out our answer as to if we're going to have any moves out of this. If there isn't, then there's no reason to whine or complain at all. But first driver onto the track now as a couple of cars onto the road. We pick it up as we started, and we finish as we started. A 6-car lobby has got us underway here tonight, and a 6-car lobby is what's going to send us home tonight. But the circumstances which led to that, a little bit on the interesting side, but the cars onto the racetrack nicely, and Aaron, first driver onto the road, and the multicolour changing RB returns once more, followed by a Red Bull.
Indeed, and Aaron's got some serious pressure. As I said, AMR is one of those 4 teams that could make it or break it tonight. They are 12th. On average, they've got a 1 minute 30.4125 as we speak. And he is going to have to find as much time as possible. 3 of the 4 teams who have got their position for the season on the line are in this lobby at the moment. The only team that has to sit this one out and have to go resort to some nail biting, I'm afraid, is the ZNT team, because they were in the 4th lobby. That one lobby was actually fine, but they are 10th on average, and that means they are pretty much on the limit. ABS is only half a 10th behind on average, and that means Pascal Ranielli can actually push the French team out for real this time, and that would be a disaster for ZNT. They raced last season. They might not be racing this season, but they will be the first reserves, though, if everything is not going too disastrous for them. Because AMR, of course, will be trying to get that position from them as well. But, Byron, take it away for Aaron Raminges.
Aaron Raminges now into turn number 1 here to begin the first lap time he will do in this session. And well, what can he manage and muster? Somehow I've tabbed out of the game. That's impressive from me. But Aaron Raminges through sector 1, through the S section, nicely handled, nicely taken from him, is now up into sector 2 quite nicely here for him. Obviously a purple sector 1. He's the first driver to set a sector 1, so that's no surprise there. But crucial lap time getting underway for all of these drivers who are all on hot laps now. Not sure if any of them have invalidated on their hot lap thus far, but Aaron Dominguez now down the main straight here. Important not to have too much drag on the car for this straight, because this is where you can find quite a bit of time if you can handle the car through the corners, as now goes through sector 2, and something briefly happened with the lobby and he's invalidated off the road there as Joel Marquardt there goes through sector 2 himself. He's got a purple sector 1, purple sector 2, and now goes into that harder sector 3 through the double apex right-hander, and well, the driver who started the hot lap action, Aaron, will come into the pit lane, and Joel Marquardt will hopefully set a decent lap time here to get things underway, and he sets a 1:29.989. That's a really strong lap time from him. And scenario 7, a 1:30.152, so not a bad lap time for him either. What are other drivers managing here, as NLR Victor Widler there goes up into second, then Pascal Ranieri goes 5th. He's not improving from the lap time he set previously, his best lap time, as Herman Polikov goes into 5th there. So first lap time's done and dusted. Joel Marquardt leads the way at the moment.
Trying to figure out already some average numbers here. Yes, as you said, Pascal hasn't improved, so that means they will not be getting into the top 10 yet. Of course, Aaron Dominguez hasn't been able to set a lap time at all, which means for now ABS and AMR remain where they are in 11th and 12th for Season 5. ZNT, for the time being, is safe, but there's still 13 minutes to go. 30 minutes that could change everything for 2, 3, or maybe even 4 different teams in this season. Steven Vaso has managed to get a lap time in. I'm not sure which one of the two is his, but it's slower than either of them, as he is on his in-lap and nearly loses the car in turn 12. Not something you'd like to see. He'll be happy to know that damage is off, fortunately. So he can't really crash his car into many pieces. And Dominguez back on his way on another outlap, his second attempt for the night. Or actually, technically, that must be his 6th or 7th attempt already to get a proper hot lap in. Let's hope this lobby stays live for as long as it's necessary, especially for these drivers who were not able to get their lap time in last time round. Aaron Dominguez, as I said, could make it or break it for the AMR team as well. Otherwise, they will be second reserve for Season 5.
Indeed. Really interesting to see what these drivers can muster. Joel Marquardt immediately right on the money, and well, you know, not everyone immediately onto the pace, but that's why it's better to give them that 18 minutes. If you give them one lap right at the end, if they have a problem, it's all over. But giving them that full 18 minutes allows them to bed themselves in, get back to that same point, and get a good lap time on the board, as Aaron Dominguez hopefully will manage to do that now. ZNT just saying GG chat in response to their place in the season. They're not feeling that confident, ZNT, but Aaron Dominguez now going through Sector 1 nicely through the S section here, and not looking too shabby. The rear end nice and stable through the S section, which is a difficult part to get that downforce just right and keep that nice and stable. Was now through Sector 2, down the hill and in towards one of many hairpins around this circuit. With 11 minutes left on the clock, Aaron Dominguez on a decent lap time, heading down the straight. Rear wing will open nice and wide here for the AMR man, and well, certainly looking better than his previous lap time, which he didn't finish setting. So if he's able to finish this one, that's an improvement on his last attempt here as he goes through the Sector 2 timing split. It says he's about a 10th down from Joel Marquardt at the moment, but if he's able to just better that in Sector 3. He could be even that little bit closer, but what can he do in that third and final sector? Double right apex looking very good for him. Now into the double left here to round off the lap. Turn 19 and now turns 20. Nice and easily taken for Aaron now. P4 is what he can muster there, a 1:30.204. And, well, not a bad lap time at all. What can the rest of the grid do to respond? Well, Joel Marquardt has invalidated his out lap and now gets a chance at a hot lap here.
I think Joel is just going for the victory because they are 2 milliseconds behind on average to CPI. They want to get that fastest at the top spot. Can I just say, with this lap that Aaron has put in, on average, if my math is correct, they will at least pass ABS and maybe even ZNT. And do not know which lap was previously his, whether it was the 30.3 or the 30.4. But they are so close together, it doesn't really matter too much. I'd say they are right now potentially occupying that 10th place with Aaron Dominguez's lap time as we speak. So ZNT could already be in trouble, but we'll only know it by the end of the session. That will be in 9 minutes or more or less as Victor Whittler cuts to corner 1 way too much, causing him to invalidate straight away. That's his lap time over. As Joel Marquardt has decided to go for the win in qualifying night. He needs to find a bit more than this. 29.9 is not enough yet. Their previous lap times were 29.837 and 881. At the moment, nearly half a tenth quicker than his previous attempt, will still not be good enough to claim victory in qualifying night for Season 5. But he's got a few more corners to go where he could potentially improve massively. Whatever happens, TF10 qualifies, but they would like to show the world that they are ready to challenge FVR for Season 5 here for the title, but he invalidates out of turn 19, and that's his second attempt over. There'll still be time left for him though, so we'll have to find out later whether he can make it or not. Let's see who else is closest to finishing his lap. Stephen Vaso is about to start his. Scenario 7 is on his way. I think Herman Polyakov and the other Mercedes for NLR, not IRT, is indeed closest to finishing his as he goes through turn 16. Has already finished 2 sectors, trying to find out what his lap time was previously. 24.7 through sector 1, 36.0 through sector 2. I'm not sure whether he was faster or not than his previous attempt, but it looks like 2 green lap times at the moment at the very least. So we might just go up the table a little bit more than this. 30.6 it was. 30.4 it shall be for Herman Polyakov. He's still about 4/10 of his teammate, but it is an improvement nonetheless. So, well, it's still not good enough actually for the average table, because both lap times in the table at the moment are faster than Herman's attempt for now.
Indeed, and now Scenario 7 gets it all crossed up on the exit of turn number 19. He comes back into the pit lane, which now means we are pretty much back to as we were, but Stephen Vaso on a hot lap at the moment and looking to try and get a lap time that's looking good, and it is looking good. A 10.5 improvement there at the moment is putting him just behind Joel Marquardt based on his first 2 sector times. And well, now what can Stephen Vaso do is now he rounds the final couple of bends here to finish off this final flying lap time. Well, not final flying lap time, but yet another flying lap time for him. And well, this could be a really good lap time as he goes third.
It is.
Decent improvement, 10.5 up. Maybe not as much as he would have wanted. Maybe lost a bit of time in that third and final sector. But up to third, a decent improvement. That is what he would love to see, as a little bit of decent comes in there, but nothing too major.
He's now faster than both lap times set by the previous 2 drivers. One of them was, of course, himself. So the average of EV is going down a little bit, which is great news. It might even push them up a position and put them above TTM, sorry, if he keeps it up like this. So good on Steven on this retry for going even faster now than what has previously happened. So, it's still very exciting in the bottom layer of the top 10, as AMR is potentially qualified already, with Aaron Ramirez, I believe, on his way once again. Yes, he is. He's just started his third attempt. Let's see if he can go even faster than he did previously. Through Sector 1 he goes. What's it going to be? It's a 24.6, 23 milliseconds is in it at the moment on the minus side, which is good news for Ramirez at the moment. So then, Sector number 2 as he approaches the back straight, coming up real soon. Then, of course, a lot of battery is going to be used for real this time, as the rear ring is going to flap open right at the white line over there, and using overtake a lot to get himself over the back straight as fast as humanly possible, heading towards turn number 12. Then, at the end of Sector 2, what's the improvement going to be there? Is he going to be able to make it even more nail-biting for ZNT? Yes, he is. 137 milliseconds quicker at the moment. One more sector to go, where he could make it or break it this time round. It will make the average even more in AMR's favor. Bad news for ZNT, and potentially could put TTM or maybe even EVE down to P10 on the qualifying night list. What's he going to do then? Through the final corner, Aaron Ramirez, could he make himself the hero for this team? He does! He goes fastest overall by well over 2.5 tenths quicker. This is what the team properly needs, and I'm almost 100% certain that this has put ZNT out of the top 10.
Absolutely, it has. And Joel Marquardt, he's on an absolute brilliant lap time himself. He's likely to take that P1 spot back, but that will mean absolutely nothing to Aaron Ramirez. His goal was not to be P1 in this session. His goal was to get them into the competition as Aaron Ramirez, a 1:29.680. That is a brilliant lap time there from him. Now Victor Widler is next to come across the line and set himself a flying lap time here. He's on a good lap time at the moment. Purple in Sector 1, yellow in Sector 2 though. So what can he now muster? He musters an invalidation there into the final couple of bends. So we'll come into the pit lane. Now, 3 minutes left on the clock, ladies and gentlemen, and it is all to play for here. Joel Marquardt, absolute blistering lap time, but as you say, Aaron Ramirez done absolutely everything he needed to give his team a chance of getting into the championship. Now, I think the big thing as well lies with Pascal Ranieri. Is he able to get a lap time that can help ABS here?
Indeed, and whatever scenario's efforts are, he's currently driving really, really fast, faster than his previous attempt in the lobby number 3 already. It's not going to help them get into the top 10. I think Steven might have potentially saved EVE from getting kicked out with improving the average, so they'll be celebrating him tonight as well. I'm pretty sure about that. But yeah, Aaron Ramirez, man, oh man, I think the man of the match over all 5 lobbies tonight might be this man right here. Aaron Ramirez with a 29.9. Of course, Joel Marquardt is fastest out of everybody at the moment of all 5 lobbies. He is now on average beaten CPI to the number 1 position in qualifying night, but that doesn't matter whatsoever. Yeah, there's no spoils for the victor of the qualifying night. It is, however, an indication of which teams could be potential championship contenders. However, there's a little bit of a side note here from me, and that is, we saw ZNT being very quick in qualifying night last season. They were pretty much on top of the table, but they were struggling hard throughout the entire season, and they were never really close to fighting for the top position. So qualifying night is just a small indicator of what we can expect, but we do know TF10 by now. They could truly be fighting for it, and maybe CPI this season could turn things around for themselves.
Indeed, and Scenario 7 looking to try and turn things around as he has got one final lap, one final opportunity, 20 corners to try and help his team in their bid to try and be in this championship even more so. And well, a few little places will move about thanks to the heroic efforts by Aaron Ramirez. And well, Stephen Vasso as well. What can Pascal Ranieri do as well to try and help his team? But Scenario 7, the first driver to begin their final flying hot lap here with Herman Polikov, the next driver. Oh, Scenario 7, a costly mistake, and one that would mean he cannot improve now. He's not got enough time to get round and begin another lap, and he's not going to be able to finish this one as he's invalidated. So, qualifying done and dusted for Scenario 7 as our attention turns to Herman Polikov.
Yep, and very soon we'll have to turn our attention to Pascal Ranieri as well, because he could become the second hero of tonight. Herman Polyakov, though, we already knows NLR is very safe. They are pretty much in P5 at the moment, and they will stay there unless he might have something to say about it in his final attempt. Same goes for Victor Whitler, of course, but Herman Polyakov, what's he doing through the middle sector? He's 2.5 tenths quicker. That will definitely help their average. It's going to be very interesting to see what they're going to be in the final standings. Doesn't really matter to them. Qualified is qualified. Wherever you finish, whether it's P1 or P10 with a millisecond to spare, you will be in the season nonetheless. So whether you win it or bin it, as long as you're in the top 10, you'll be perfectly fine. But Herman Polyakov is the first who's going to be crossing the line. Around the final corner he goes right now. And then we're going to see what happens across the line. Herman Polyakov, 30.087, as is, well, I would say his teammate, but it really isn't his teammate. Scenario retires in the pit lane. But we're going to have to switch our attention to the Aston Martin, because despite the fact that Victor and Stephen are still on their way, Pascal Ranieri is the man who potentially could do it, and there he is, 3 tenths up through the middle sector. Is this going to be a problem then for another team in the name of EV or maybe even TTM, depending on how Stephen Vaso is doing as well? He is the first to cross the line out of those two. Victor Whitler is going to come round the final corner. Whatever he does doesn't matter, because LLR is quite safe, but can he go fastest overall? What's he doing? 29.7 second place, but Stephen Vaso then across the line, he does improve, goes up to 4th, and then Pascal Ranieri, he does go to a 30.466, and now some more nail biting as the calculation of the average is going to is going to begin in earnest.
Indeed, and will that see ABS through? Well, hopefully for the man who didn't get to set more lap times for Lola. Well, he's hoping. He will be absolutely hoping. And, here we go. Joel Marquardt there set the fastest time, and I believe the fastest time of all 5 lobbies there, with Victor Whitler there in second place. Good for both of them. And Raminguez, a huge job there. Stephen Vaso as well, huge. And Herman Polikov, Scenario 7, and Pascal Ranieri. But what does this mean in terms of the results for the event as a whole? Well, we'll just wait for those times to be popped into our spreadsheet, and as soon as they are, we can tell you what teams have qualified and which teams are going to be a little bit disappointed and maybe have wanted just that little bit more. But here we go. I'm just going to keep an eye on the spreadsheet until it's all updated, and I can tell you who has gone through, who hasn't gone through. Oh, wait, just for hopefully a message just to tell me that it's all up to date. And
there it goes.
Everyone in that lobby was quicker than they were before. So
indeed they were, yeah.
As the times get updated and changed, now it is time to see what the ramifications of this are in terms of our, well, who qualifies, who doesn't qualify. But yeah, TGF understandably last by quite a margin, with one driver not showing up tonight. Disappointing for them, but just around the corner is that updated lobby with all of the timings for how we are looking now. So give it just a couple of seconds, we'll be able to tell you who's gone through and who hasn't.
I can tell you already, NLR has averaged 3rd position already, with the improvement of both drivers. TF10, of course, as expected, will be the winner of qualifying night. CPI then will come in at 2nd place. VRM will be demoted to 4th, ETA down to P5. We're just waiting for the table to get updated properly because I think all of the lap times have been entered except for the lap time of AMR. That should still be added. I can't see Aaron Ramirez's time just yet. But things are being swapped around again. Not sure what's going on. They're actually getting reset to their original ones.
Yeah, I think they were inputted for the wrong drivers. I'm not quite sure off the top of my head what's going on, but looking at things at the moment, it is looking.
There we go.
Good.
Now they're getting done properly. Yep.
There we go.
Yep.
AMR could be just about through.
Here it is.
Here we go. So teams that have qualified, FVR. Have obviously qualified. They auto-qualified. TF10 take the crown in qualifying night. CPI, NLR, VRM do qualify. ETA, EVE, TES, Tomonga Sim Racing, TTM, and AMR do manage to get through. ABS miss out ever so slightly, but they will be the first reserve, then ZNT, your second reserve. But huge. Couple of changes there, but is that any different to what we would have expected going into it? I would say not really.
No, I'm surprised by a few. I'm mostly surprised by EVE compared to last season. They are now quite up there, and that is good news for them. Of course, there is... Well, I'm also surprised by ABS not making it. Same goes for ZNT. I really did expect them to qualify up there. AMR, of course, they will have a big party with Aaron Ramirez in their midst, as they have managed to do it, thanks to him and him alone. Otherwise, they would have been in P12 still, with ABS qualifying in the end. But they just missed out on that, unfortunately. TTM has gotten quite close to the edge after all. They managed to finish 9th for now. TES has also been dropped down a bit because Stephen Vaso's lap time has managed to put them all the way up in P6, which is a great job by them. All the teams that failed to qualify, of course, IRS, IRT, OP, OVR, SET, ILE, DLX, and of course TGF with only one driver, unfortunately. But yeah, that's it. And look at that. We are 2.5 hours further now after the start of qualifying, after the issues. Everything has been resolved now, but... These are your 10 teams, without penalties applied, of course. I do not know whether there was any impeding going on. I don't think many penalties are going to be applied, so this might be the official final result then.
It does appear that way, but qualifying night is done and dusted for PC, and what a qualifying night it absolutely was. Bit of drama, a bit of chaos, a bit of the game breaking. It's how it goes in the F1 game, but I do certainly find that to be very, very interesting. And, well, the result for this season will be very interesting to see as well. But qualifying night for console takes place tomorrow, and that will be, again, beginning at 7:30. 4 more lobbies of action there, and 21 teams.
So stay tuned, folks.
And my father decides to be an absolute wankstein. Sorry for my language, but that was just not appreciated. But from us at Competitive Speed Series, it has been a chaotic, a dramatic, and action-filled qualifying night. But we'll be back for the season quite soon, hopefully. But until then, when Competitive Speed Series returns, round 1 getting underway in a couple of weeks' time, but console qualifying night taking place. Final thoughts from you, Frost, before we go?
Yeah, I mean, I'm really looking forward to see what's going to happen. Let's see if this was a true indicator of the pace of the drivers and the teams to come. I'm really looking forward to Season 5. Can't wait for it to begin. Yeah, this was very interesting to see, and yeah, we'll see you very soon.
Indeed. Well, until next time, when Competitive Speed Series returns for PC, or if you're tuning in tomorrow for console. Until we return for some more racing action, bye-bye.